There we go. Hello, guys. Welcome to Friday Night Flame War with your host, Dutch Matrix. I will introduce my guest in just a moment here. Let's just get settled in. How's it going, guys? Let's see who's in here right now. We got Dill. We got the Deke, always here early. I know we'll be having a couple other people come in, but it is a busy weekend because of 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you all. And with that, let me introduce my guest tonight, Mr. Tylenish. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. How's everything for everyone on this wonderful Friday evening for 4th of July for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America?
That's right. 250 years. It's crazy to think about, honestly. And even then, it's a blip in history, but an interesting one at that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, your boy Tomahawk's in here. What's up? And my boy, too. What's up, Tomahawk?
Hi, Tomahawk.
All right. Let's see. We got the Deke. He just had a diet beer. I didn't know that was a thing. So he could eat regular Doritos. All right. Dill with
There's diet beer?
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't even think a thing was possible. Okay.
Dill going through some shit as always, but we're glad to see him here, and we'll stick with him through the shit as always. Let's see here. Because he's the British, and unfortunately we got a Mog on him because we're Americans. He's
jeez.
You know, it has to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah, gotta have a little fun with the British every now and then now.
All right. So, how this works, Tylen, let me just go over a little bit of housekeeping for everybody. Let me see if I can find it. I know I put it in my bookmarks here. Let me go back to this one. Cool. All right. Where are we looking at? We're looking at right here. So if you guys didn't know, on our Discord and on Twitter, I posted up this thing for 100 days locked in. It started, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. I think today's day 3. So this is just something I wanted to do for the guys. It's not really, it says challenge, but unfortunately I don't really have any prizes set up right now. I guess if you live in the US and you're doing it, maybe I might offer something from Temple, since they're my fitness supplements brand and they're really good. And I'm not just saying that because they're sponsoring me. I mean, like, I do my best with my affiliate / sponsors to buy the stuff before I promote it, and make sure that it's something that I would use myself. So it's fairly good for the price, and I even ran it past our boy Liam in the server, who's somewhat of an expert autist on supplements, and he said for the most part most of the stuff is pretty good. The pre-workout is right in there for the price at the very least, and the electrolytes are really good. Taste, not the best. They're kind of salty, but that's what electrolytes are, so I don't know what you're expecting. If you want the fruity stuff, you'll have to go with the Poggers, which is less electrolyte-y and more just gamer fuel type stuff.
Totally understandable. And one thing that I also do try doing on my streams, I know Tomahawk is a regular on mine, but a little thing about me, I do actively try to promote men's mental health awareness and discussions regarding usual relationships, a little bit of the sexual topics too, and other stuff that could help out men and improve not only their lives, but those around them, primarily because so many things are not discussed about nowadays, and I feel like the lack of education is really starting to catch up mixed with this whole culture that we currently have going on at the moment. So men, listen to me when I say focus on yourself, improve your education, improve yourself, improve your health too, and your physical well-being. Such like with Dutch here with his 100-day lock-in challenge.
Yeah, that's the whole point, is especially with the boys in the Discord, is that's my whole as self-righteous as it's going to sound. I feel like God has called me to do that. as in helping men, especially in this time. And that's why I wanted to do this. Self-improvement isn't going to fix everything in your life, obviously, and it's not going to fix the world necessarily, but it fixes you and your world in a lot of ways and helps you with confidence and feeling better, all that kind of stuff. I know it's not going to fix everything, and there's still going to be difficult times, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And it was the first step for me when I hit rock bottom. I guess it's been almost 10 years now, but when I hit rock bottom way back. So
yeah, that's where I will definitely say self-improvement is not gonna help everything, as Dutch mentioned, but if you focus on yourself and get yourself into a better position for you to be able to help out others, you can start slowly make changes in the world. But right now, you need to prioritize yourself first and foremost. Get yourself a more stable condition physically, mentally, emotionally, maybe romance-wise too, if you get to that degree, if you find yourself a nice person. But generally, they will come along when you work on yourself a lot and get to the point where you have a lot of self-love. That's something men need to relearn, is a little bit of self-love can go a long ways.
yeah, I totally agree. And I know it's difficult for a lot of men because they've been beaten down. And when we get into the meat of our discussion here, which was a post that you make, we can go over that some more. But I know it is difficult when you've been beaten down by the world as well as a lot of people around you. So we will get into that in the meat of it. So that's just the housekeeping for tonight. We have the 100 days challenge going on in the server. If you want more information, please go ahead and go to this. Maybe I'll just link my post here. Hold on, in the chat.
Honestly, that's a good idea.
Let's see here. Shoot this up to you guys. Go over to that link. You can comment in the comments of the post, and I will get back to you either in... I know everybody in here right now knows that, but for later, if people are watching, I'll have the links somewhere so people can get to them. But yeah, it's going on in there. A lot of people are doing well so far. Shout out to Lucky Bach. Shout out to... I am going to be horrible with names here right now, but let me see here. Because y'all have... Let me
find your post so I can promote it too. Here's it. There it is.
Gosh dang it. Anyways, shout out to all the guys that are doing it. I will try and keep up with you. I know you guys know I'm busy, but I'm going to do my absolute best to get with all of you at least once every 2 weeks or once a week if I can, to discuss the progress you guys are making. I'm down a pound or two from when we started, so I'm pretty happy about that already. I started a new workout program. I have been reading the Bible just about every day except yesterday because part of housekeeping, and I'll tell Tylen because I think he'll think it's funny, I had a raccoon under my deck last night that was scratching under the deck right by where the room is where I sleep. So that was fun.
No. I used to deal with those back down cells. Bro, those are not fun.
So he got the, apparently at the house I rent, the deck, the deck that I have is kind of cheaped out on. It's a rental. I don't own it. What's up, Baron? Oh, Beef Dip. How you doing, bud?
Hi, Baron. Good to see you, nerd.
And Donnie. Welcome, Donnie. I will be reading your guys' chats in a little bit after we get through the housekeeping here. But yeah, whoever did the deck before we got in here, apparently they cheaped out on the deck because everything was latticed underneath the deck so stuff can't get under it except for this one part that is like literally, you know, cat raccoon sized. And then I go, me and the Duchess are going to bed for the night, and we just hear scratching on the deck, and we think it's some guy like digging through our stuff, like our shed or something like that. And 2 seconds. Oh, it's mango, huh? Thank you. The Duchess just gave me some mango.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, it's just they didn't lattice this one part that is just perfectly cat, possum, raccoon sized, and I guess a little juvenile raccoon got in under there and he didn't know how to get out, so he was scratching out under the deck like all night.
Oh no, poor thing.
So that was my night. But other than that, I don't know if I have any other housekeeping for you guys. Actually, we will be on next week. I don't know with what yet, but we will be on next week. And so going forward with that, let me read a couple of the messages we got here just so you guys know I'm looking at you. Let's see here. Deke with the God pulled me out of my hell when I admitted I was the end of myself. Good call, good call. Dildo, Tomahawk, why would you want to help the world when has the world helped you? Oh, you know, that's a difficult one, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Donnie, hey Dutch, what's up, Baron? Good. Vinny had it out for you, got it.
Vinny always causing problems when you least expected, that raccoon asshole.
With that, let me go back to, like I told you earlier, Tylen, we have a couple. I would love to get your opinions on this, because I know you kind of are in the AI community a little bit, if you want to call it that. I don't know if I would call it that, but it's the only thing I know how to say. So
yeah, me too.
So we'll go over a couple of the prompts out there. If you guys want them, I can try and put them in the chat, but we're going to start with one from Tolvin Skull. He just got back from a Twitter, not a ban, but a Twitter like suspension. So glad to have you back, Tolvin, if you see this.
You're kidding.
A lot of the AI guys have been getting hit with random suspensions because of, I guess, like they're getting hit with it for like spamming or something, because they'll tag a lot of people in it and stuff like that. It's very weird, but it's not anybody like mass reporting or anything like that. It's just the Twitter AI being goofy. So
that might explain what happened to me, because I got tagged with a, oh hey, we think you're a bot account, so send in a selfie to confirm that you're a human.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that actually, since you brought it up earlier. You were saying that maybe they were putting in child locks or something like that.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Yeah, can you confirm?
That, so far, what I was able to do personally was I was able to put on a pair of sunglasses and suck in my lips, because I thought that would trick the system, since it wanted clarification of me being a human instead of being a bot. Well, thankfully it worked, but it was not AIDS verification, so a little bit of a jumping gun on my end. But on the other hand, it is concerning that this is even happening in the first place. And I did contact a few others on Discord and got their opinions. So far, it hasn't happened to them yet. It's a curious thing, because we know that the Kids Act has flown through the House with little to no issues.
Yeah, I'm not. It's a tough one for me, because in some ways I do want, to be honest, like real talk, I do want kids off the internet. I don't think most kids
all do to a degree.
But the actual how you implement that, I think affects, like you said, it affects adults, everybody. It's more of just a spying thing, like to get more of your information, which I already don't like how much information I have to put out there. I think if you get monetized on any of these platforms, by the way, I know that's something you'd be interested in. If you do get monetized on any of these platforms, Nanis has told me that you do have to get give them like your ID and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, just to confirm that they send you the proper money instead of someone randomly getting the money, which, from my understanding, that's standard business practice and has been a thing long before this whole obsession has been coming about. So that doesn't freak me out.
But it's still, I mean, for me, I get it and I understand, because that's any job you work at basically, and at the point you're getting paid for it, it is a job. But it's still like,
yeah,
you're just giving more information to these big tech companies that'll just sell it to you know, scammers basically.
Pretty much.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, anyways, though, but we have Tolvin Skull here with the like Denny's playmat basically prompt. Very cool.
That's
I dig
really
it.
fucking cute.
All right, we got Tolvin, we got Lunettes. I'm gonna probably say that wrong. Wistful. I think he had one more on here, but yeah, Steel Bear, of course. And these are awesome. I really dig these. I think these are more interesting than some of the playmats I actually would play on at when I was a kid at like Applebee's or Denny's or whatever.
Me too.
If they made them like this would be way better.
Oh, so many kids would be going feral for these kinds of playmats and bringing them home and showing them to friends. Are you kidding?
Yeah. All right, and then let me see here. Oh, sick.
Crimson Paladin.
All right, let me go back to the here. Let's see. Who else would be a good one? This one would be a good one from ArcDev. ArcDev with the mad scientist prompt.
Oh, that's funny.
If you're into that.
I recognize a couple of them.
That is one thing I can say is that everybody in here, like we were saying before in chat, like you and me in chat, is that everybody in here, even if they're not like totally doing the same thing and or don't agree with each other on some things or whatever, it seems, aside from the little drama that came up a couple weeks ago, it seems like most people who are doing this AI gen art stuff, whatever, everybody's just here having fun.
Yeah, which it did rear up its ugly head again in convos earlier this morning. Basically, an artist was essentially shit-talking AI artists again, saying that if you're a VTuber who uses AI art, you're not an actual VTuber, you're just a VTweeter using AI, and that you're a low-class subhuman.
Yeah, I saw that. I did also see actually somebody else commenting on a different person who said they don't particularly care for AI art, and they actually came to a reasonable agree to disagree. And I was like, oh, wow, yeah. That's rare. So,
especially on the internet nowadays, yeah, that's a rarity.
They were like, I don't agree. The person who made the post, a different VTuber, was like, it was one of those, I clawed my way up, I saved up money, I think she mentioned that she was on, I don't know if I have it on here, I'm not going to go look, but she mentioned she was like, oh, I started when I was on welfare and I'm disabled and I have all this other stuff, but I saved up enough money to make buy original artwork or make original artwork and stuff like that. And the person just brought up, he's like, some people are literally starting with like nothing, and they don't have the money to spend. And this is basically all the benefits of the AI art, which is like literally, it's easy to do. People who don't have a lot of money can make it really quick and have something to put up until they get as in like, he still supports artists, which I think we both do. But yeah, when we can, right? So
yeah, this is where I actually make a distinction in my support of artists. So anyone here who watches me or Dutch or Pixel, Spider Bro, well, speaking of which, hi Spider Bro, good to see you in here
Hey
tonight.
Spider Bro, good to see you.
But I will definitely say, anyone in this stream / voice call, we also watch Kirsha. Despite criticisms either with her model or how she handles content, basically, she uses a little bit of AI to get some quick stuff done, especially during her whole cancellation during last year, when she had to make some quick thumbnails because she didn't want to overload her artist with a bunch of random thumbnails under a really strict time. She just threw some AI gens into it.
Yeah, making it clear, I don't watch Kirsch, but that's because I don't watch women. So, but But no, yeah, that's what I was saying too. It's like I don't have enough. A lot of the stuff that I make, and I think a lot of the stuff that other people make, is one, just for fun. It's not like they're making money off of it. And even the stuff that is maybe taking away, maybe would be considered taking away money from someone like a thumbnail artist or a PNG tuber artist or something like that. It's like, no, honestly, if I didn't make it with AI like this, even my PNG tuber that's on screen right now, if I didn't make it with AI, I just wouldn't have a PNG tuber. I'd just be like, I'll just put up a static image or something. Well, one of the art that I did have made already, I just put up a static image, right? So
yeah, I mean, that's what I do for my streams.
So what I'm saying is that a lot of people are commenting on it like, oh, you're taking work and money away from artists, but I'm like, I'm really not, because I wasn't going to pay anyone to make this anyways. So
yeah, like that's the problem. Like, if we don't have the spare money for us to get commission work to be done, how are we taking it away from artists in the first place? And that's where an interesting argument actually comes up, because it took Kirsha 6 freaking years to finally get a freaking model artist to make her some models. And it didn't take until Cha-Cha's connection, because various artists would either drop her because of her political opinions, her stances on shit, or the fact that she uses a little bit of AI every now and then.
Yeah, and it's, again, like you said too, it also helps that, oh, I didn't even know I was in this. Well,
there you go.
In this comment thread. But no, yeah, it's really like you said, it's just like sometimes you also don't want to overload your artist. Like if I had enough money to pay a thumbnail artist, I would love to do that. But even still, it's like a human artist just can't get stuff out as quickly as maybe you need it. So it's like you supplement a little bit with AI helping out. Like, let's say if I was doing 5 videos a week or something like that, I would go, okay, I need you to draw art for like 2 or 3 thumbnails of these a week, and then I'll do AI art with the other 2 or 3 days that you can't handle, right? So
see, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So that's that is one from Julie Loxrix, some French name. I don't know no French. Get out of here. But the prompt is really cool. I like this art style.
Very cool.
I like this art style. So shout out to her. If you guys want to go find that, I'll put it up later. But let's try to get into, what did I bring up here?
Oh.
We'll do that.
Hey, Lucky Babs. Good to see you here.
Hey, Lucky Bach. Good to see you, man. We will go into that later. Let me pull up one last nice thing. This is Skybros. Skybros has, he did a cool little studio trigger of Eustace, and I just wanted to bring it up. I know he's practicing for whatever new music video he's making, I'm sure, but I just really like this art style that he's done in some of his videos, so I wanted to point it out.
Yeah, that's a very cute style.
And then
it's supposed to be Cyberpunk Edge Runner style, I think.
Yeah, yeah, similar. Let's see here. I wanted to show you one more thing in particular. Oh, we can actually talk about this too before we get into meat. Where is it? Where is it? Ah, okay. Keen, E-N. He launched an anime. I want to bring it up on my end. I want Tylen's opinion, obviously, but bringing it up on my end, obviously, I'm going to say a couple of the girls need more clothes. But other than that, it is seriously sick, and I want to give props to Captain Keen over here. And we can listen to, let me turn the Spotify off for a minute.
I actually watched about 9 minutes of this, so I actually have a little bit of opinion.
We can just listen to the, as long as, I hope YouTube doesn't hit me on this, but we'll just go through the opening here. Again, put those puppies away, all right? But other than that, very cool. The opening goes hard, dude.
It really does. Hi, Virgil.
It's so interesting that they did an anime, but all these characters are so mismatched.
Yeah. I mean, outside the obvious jank, this is really good.
Yeah, this is awesome. I was honestly, since Spider is hanging around. Oh, DJ's here. What's up, DJ? Good to see you.
Hi, DJ.
I was gonna tell Spider actually, and bring it up with a couple of the guys that we hang out with, and be like, if I could learn how to do this, or maybe top pick Keen's brain. I know it wasn't just him. That's the opening, by the way, guys. They had a second, like an opening or an ending by Occultist too, actually. I don't know if this is copyrighted music. I don't know if I'm gonna get hit for this.
Put her an AI song singer. I think it's okay since AI music and videos are not copyright protected.
But I was gonna say, if I've talked to Oculus a couple times, and I know me and Keen are chill, so if I could pick their brain on it and get some of the other guys who I know are okay at AI stuff, I'd be like, what if we worked on a really big project of our own, like anime or cartoon? That'd be pretty sick.
My only concern is my character is not stereotypical, so I have a feeling the AI would freak the fuck out with his halo and wings.
I think this was I think the anime, the actual 30-minute anime, it does freak out, and that's just a fact. It's going to, no matter what you do. But because I think even with their thing, like, look, even Holy Ball isn't a standard like character. He's literally a Fushigi man. But
yeah, true.
But they took I think they took months working on this thing. So like together.
I believe it. I believe it.
So shout out to Oculus. Shout out to Keen. Good stuff. I hope to see more. I hope I can pop in, Keen, on a couple streams at some point. Let's see here. Let me stop for a minute, Tylen, and look through chat. I just want to make sure I am paying attention here. Let's see here. I know a lot of you guys thought that was sick. Yes, very interesting. Yes, Golden Fushigi. Very good, very good. Let's see here. Oh, Kai just woke up, so he might be in here in a minute, maybe. Resident Static, other Static. I still need to... call me out on that, Tylen. I still need to make you and Kai at least a basic VTuber like the one I'm using, or a PNG tuber like the one I'm using right now.
I mean, if you want, you can use a reference image from anywhere on my account.
Oh, yeah. I was just meant I said it like a couple months ago, and then I just... You know why I never did it was because freaking GVT runs out of prompts really fast.
Yeah, unless you're paying for it, and even then, I blast through it really fucking quick if I'm not careful.
Donnie, I don't hate AI even as an artist. I just don't view prompters as artists. Donnie, I would say yes and no. For me, it's like if you're the people who are just doing like for funsies, like putting people in different scenarios, kind of like Crimson over here, who I really appreciate. Crimson, good guy. Also in the 100-day challenge. If you're just doing fun stuff like this, I mean, it does take a level of skill to talk to the AI, but it's more of a conversation and less of an actual like drawing or something like that. I usually call any of these generations, not necessarily art. Like I don't say AI art, I say AI generations or prompts. But I would, to be honest, I would honestly consider this anime that Keen made. I'd be like, you know what? This is kind of art, man. This is kind of art.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna post these in the DMs with you. But these are a couple of images that I created with my character as a reference through an AI prompt. Either one on the left is from Twitter, and the one on the right was from a server, and they both came out really good, and I love them to pieces. Do I still respect artists? Yes, but it comes down to how professional the artist is. Because one thing I always fucking hear in the VTubing scene or anywhere you fucking go, it's always a fucking shit show. Because artists, for whatever fucking reason, are put on a higher pedestal instead of being expected of basic, business marketing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing too is I have to agree on is that it's more so the to me it's like when a lot of artists got, and I'm not talking about Donnie, but a lot of artists that were on like Twitter or Instagram or stuff like that, people would go to them and be like, hey, can I get some art made? And they would look at your Twitter and go, oh no, you believe in stuff. Hey, Mia, no, Mimi, sorry, dog. Mimi, go, get out of here.
No worries.
Did she touch anything?
She was trying to go at the ant bait.
Hey, come on.
Go.
She didn't eat anything, did she?
No.
Don't let the airhead popper get at the ant bait. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm not shocking her, chat. Don't worry. It's just I don't want her to eat ant bait.
Fine.
The
She's getting a treat.
Thank you, Duchess. That sorry, got discombobulated. So the artists, it's like they would look at your Twitter or your Instagram or whatever, be like, oh, you support things that I don't support. No, I'm not going to make art for you. Or on the opposite end, you'd be like, oh, I really like your art. Can you make art for me? And they'd be like, yeah, $500. And you'd be like, whoa, you are not like, I like your art, but you're not $500 art.
Yeah, like, there's gotta be some level of reasonability here. Like, I don't support artists undercutting themselves to a massive degree, but overcharging people to high hell and back is not gonna be good either.
Yeah, I think a lot of the artists got kind of a big head after, because I think for a while there was a lot of artists that were under charging themselves, but then it went the opposite way where there was a lot of artists that were overcharging themselves. And now again, that AI has come in. It's like, okay, sorry, you're going to have to compete a little bit with the AI, which is, I know, extremely cheap, but that just means I'll pay a good price to a good artist for something, but it's going to have to be pretty good art. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of that, Baron mentions that there's an artist in the furry community that commands a 5,000 price tag, and he gets commissioned.
well, Baron, I would put this out there a different way though, is that furries are either like people who live in their mom's basement and collect like Social Security, or they are like rocket engineers and have a ton of money. So furry artists used to be, I don't know if they can with the AI coming up now, but furry artists used to be able to charge a ton of money because one, a lot of furries were making a lot of money, and two, the furries were asking for some pretty crazy stuff that not a lot of artists would maybe want to do. So
A little give and take, yeah.
Let's see here. Let's move on to the meat. Let's move on to the meat of our conversation, so I can get rid of this. I'd love to talk about PSYOP anime, but that'll be for another time. Let me see. I thought I brought it up here, but I guess I need to go back into here and go back to where I sent it in the first place. There it is. Okay. So this is why I brought Tylen on, guys. And me and him have been on other stuff before, had a lot of fun just hanging out, playing games. But we have similar but also differing perspectives on the whole relationship dynamics thing. And I saw this post from him and I thought I liked it, but I guess I didn't. I will though. With what he said here, can you go over this for us really quick, Tylen? I can scroll for you if you want, or send you, you know what, let me send you this link again. So if you want to read it verbatim, you can, and then we can discuss it.
Of course. So let me pull up my own post here. Okay, so here's the problem. Porn only gets rampant as it does because, one, it's allowed free access without any form of mitigation of parents on using the tools at their disposal to prevent parents at home letting their kids see it. So, problem number one. Parents are not using any tools that you can call the internet provider and go, hey, can you block this, this, and that? And they can go, sure, you got it. That's something most people are not aware of they can do. Two, porn's allowed to grow uncontrolled as it is because it's exploiting the current situation of both male loneliness and female loneliness. Because it puts into a cycle of women thinking they can be raging hoes can net them a lot of free money without having to work. That's just working against men because men can't find any women that isn't a hoe. Therefore, it creates a vicious cycle. Because, surprise, surprise, when you get a lot of women that don't want to do all the hard manual jobs but can't find a man to actually net and live that kind of comfortable life, guess what's gonna frickin' happen? 3. Men need to stop feeding into it and focus on self-improvement. The right lady will eventually come along, but you also need to have the balls to take the initiative. Because sadly, a lot of men think they can pick up chicks a lot, whenever. It's a mixture of things. 1, pretty privilege. Works both ways, both men and women. Don't fucking matter. 2, if you're moderately in shape, if you look rich and such, more women, especially gold diggers, are gonna want to go towards you, and then they're gonna immediately fucking divorce you when they get a chance. Focus on yourself, get yourself in a good position before you can start loving others. 4, women's standards have been set up to outrageous standards, like thinking a sudden 10 out of 10 guy will come up and sweep her off her feet when that isn't gonna fucking happen. You'd be surprised how many men within your own bracket would meet those standards, but you ladies refuse to lower your standards to more realistic shit. Think of all the K-pop dramas and this and that, thinking that these women can go to South Korea, find their secret 10 out of 10 shy boy failure lover who's like a multi-millionaire.
That's why China banned that kind of stuff, right?
I believe so. I think it's still allowed over there, but it has to be like a Chinese version of it that's more realistic, I think. I don't know. I really have not been keeping up with it.
Before you continue on that, so you were responding to this person who I think actually, funny enough, Kai, I've seen Kai in this person's comments too. But we won't get into that right now. And I'll go ahead and read for her what you were commenting on here. The first Western nation to ban pornography will quickly become the most productive nation on the planet. This would solve the demographic decline crisis overnight. This would save millions of marriages. This would save millions of children from having their innocence torn away. This would force men to get off their asses and do the work of courting a woman. This would save millions of women from being exploited and trafficked. There is literally no downside to banning pornography. Pornography is pure civilization poison. We can ban it, and by God, we will. And let me just say that I agree with a couple things in here, but for the most part, I'm going to be real. I think the reasoning is flawed.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a couple of nations that have already banned pornography, and look how much hell is going on in those various nations. It's not a problem of pornography itself is bad, no. Because one problem that we're seeing here in the West is that both men and women That's the other side of the argument that people are not willing to fucking mention, is that women get fucking porn brain just as bad as dudes. It's just a different form of it.
Yeah, the Minotaur, the milking farm.
Morning Glory Milking Farm, baby! Like, my god. And like,
So-
the thing is, there...
Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. So, Love in Deep Space, anyone?
I don't know what that is. I don't know
It's
if I
an
want to know
ultimate
what that
game.
is.
Well, basically, it's an ultimate game, or a reverse harem, if you know that archetype.
So, a bunch of dudes with one chick?
Yes. So basically, what happens is that in Love and Deep Space, think of it as like Genshin, but instead of the main male lead getting a bunch of chicks, it's a main female lead with 5 dudes. There was gonna be a 6th, but they threw a giant hissy fit.
Got it.
So, yeah, basically, and this game is Gooner Central. I mean, good God, I'd be shocked if there wasn't any woman porn fried from this game.
Which is very odd because I feel like in the past, and I'm not even saying like the 50s, I'm saying like even on a more tribal or like ancient level, like women with a lot of lovers were not usually the norm unless there was societal collapse becoming imminent, as opposed to, and I'm not saying this is right, I'm just saying it's as a matter of fact, it was usually more so one man with many women kind of thing.
Yes, and that would usually be the emperor or the main leader of the nation, because he needed a lot of heirs to secure his right to the throne. Women, on the other hand, were an oddity, but not completely unheard of. Think of Cleopatra, for example.
I did not know she was. I knew in like ancient Greece or like the end of later times in Roman era, like aristocratic women could go, you know, to orgies or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I did not know Cleopatra.
Yes, Cleopatra was the pharaoh. Despite her being married to an existing pharaoh, when he died, she still retained power and was able to marry other leaders from other nations, but still retained her power over her specific section of the world. So women can be leaders of the nation, but it takes a very specific kind of situation for that to occur, which is not very often in the world history.
Or it's just, again, it's not really necessarily a woman with a harem of men. It's like a woman going to, again, like orgies or something like that. It's not usually really a woman with a big harem of men. It's as opposed to the men, again.
As Dildo mentions, Rome mentioned, as Roman practices, orgies were kind of a little bit of the norm amongst the elite class, and was it degenerate? Yes, but is that really so different from what we see nowadays? No.
The degeneration of society rhymes, as they would say, in many cases.
Yeah.
So back to, let's go to 5. What was your 5? We'll get through this whole thing and then I'll kind of go back and go over them with you with the stuff I agree with and maybe the stuff I think differently on.
Mm-hmm. So, 5, men also have to face the same shit as women do if they do porn, but the stigma is strangely encouraged. No, because men have to deal with a lot of shit that women do, but difference being is that men are told to man the fuck up and deal with it, and no one refuses to help them whatsoever. Like a stalker, for example. Yes, because that can happen to men. It does happen to men, but because it's a man being stalked by a woman, no one's gonna bat an eyelash to help him because, surprise, 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 he's a big old tough man. He can handle himself. And if he can't, he's just a wimpy loser.
Yep. I have heard that before, and it is something we're dealing with. We're trying to help people with, again, well, I want to, in whatever way, whether it's the server, Twitter, whatever, if I can help people with it. We even see it with, I don't know if you watch him, but Gundo's even talked about his experiences with women doing certain things to him that I'm not going to say just for YouTube reasons, and then him going, I think you did this to me, and them going, go tell somebody who's going to believe you. Be a man.
Yep, and unfortunately, that's where the non-consensual situations happen to men, and it's always the same thing. Who's gonna believe you? You're a man. You can't be a victim. Because one thing that they don't tell you about the industry is that the R word does happen, despite it supposedly never happening. Yeah, little horror story about that.
I'm sure. Well, the industry as a whole, if we were just talking about porn, I mean, the industry as a whole is a corrupt industry anyways. I mean, you know me, I obviously don't want any of it, but I'm saying even from even if I was looking at it from a worldly perspective and I was like, oh, business practices, all that, they're not, it's always shady. It's like Hollywood on cocaine.
On a global scale.
Yeah. To the 10th degree.
Yeah. And 6, porn addiction and porn accessibility to such an extent that is with OF, for example, is a result of a degenerate culture that isn't healthy for people on both sides of the spectrum, along with it being a hookup culture at the moment, at least here in the United States for younger generations. So unless you plan on addressing the issue with men and helping men improve themselves beyond telling them, convert yourself to Christ only and then magically all your problems will disappear, that's my main gripe with these kinds of arguments, isn't gonna fucking fly when we need to start addressing shit that goes beyond that. Yeah, religion being replaced for extremism of ideology isn't good, but also trying to shoehorn Christianity into isn't gonna magically start resolving shit. We need to work with our hands to start addressing the culture and the religious beliefs back into the nation. But that's my 2 cents on it from a random gay man on the fucking internet trying to bring sensibility back to shit.
Yes, and that's so. Let me go back to this first of all. So the first Western nation to ban porn will quickly become the most productive nation, and I want to say I disagree with that completely. I think banning porn would be fixing a symptom possibly, but it's not going to fix the. It's not going to make like you're basically so for lonely men who don't see any way out and don't see a reward at the end of the tunnel. Given again, and I've been given wisdom by a couple of people recently on how my attitude and my perspective on life isn't everybody, and I need to be more aware of that when talking to certain people. But for me, like I'm my headstrongness, I'm like a bull. Like even if I'm in the hole, I will still do everything I can to try and climb out or even punch the walls to try and make some kind of progress, right? That's just who I am as a person. But a lot of people and a lot of men aren't like that. They need, a lot of them seemingly need and I want to try to help men understand that they don't need things and that they can still do stuff for themselves, like we brought up earlier. But it is a difficult thing because obviously we're trained, like our basic instinct is like, if I don't get a reward for something now in the real world in a reasonable amount of time, what's even the point of doing it, right?
Yeah.
So if you take pornography away from a lot of these lonely guys, and I want to hear you talk on this too, I know you made a whole list, but still, if you take pornography away from these lonely guys, it's not gonna fix, it'll make them, I guess, maybe goon less, but it's not gonna make them be like, oh, now I'm gonna go find a job and I'm going to provide for a family for a wife who maybe doesn't love me and who is just using me for my money and can divorce me and take all of my stuff. And like, it's not going to fix that bigger issue, right? It's only going to,
no, it's not.
It might help one of the symptoms of that bigger issue, but even then they'll just find I'm sure they would just find other ways to find it, like using a VPN or going back to hard copy, like paper pornography or whatever. So
Or the black market, and we all know how that goes.
Yeah, and I'm not denying making things harder for people. Like, obviously, I think it should be hard to get cocaine or fent, but
Well, naturally.
and similarly with porn, but at the same time, this is, I think, a more nuanced issue than drugs that can literally turn you into a zombie.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. Men's brains do get attached to physical media in terms of pornography, like visual stimulation, more than women. Yes, but here's the problem. This is also a two-way street because while women are not as blatant as men in their addictions, unless it's, drug-related, that you can't really hide that, and it's a two-way street no matter what. But in porn, women have various medias they can go to get their rocks off with little to no issue, and they're not gonna be glanced at a second way, unlike a dude, because surprise, surprise, women are much sneakier with their addictions, depending on what it is.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, well, that's the point, right? Is that's their survival strategy, is being sneaky. So, and I'm not saying that in a bad way necessarily. Like, that's just
human nature, how we're programmed. Dudes are more blatant, women are more subtle.
And there's good and bad sides to both of that. Being blatant can have bad sides, and being subtle can have good sides, and vice versa. So.
Yep.
Let's see here. This would solve the demographic decline crisis. I don't think it would. Again. I don't think this would help men go out, and maybe it would help a few guys be like, oh shit, I can't jerk off anymore to porn. I got to go find an actual girl to smash. But then any girl who would just smash them and not be like a good wife or like a committed partner, they could just go get an abortion. So I'm sure this girl also thinks abortion should be banned, as do I, to be honest, except in extreme cases. But, still, that's the option that's on the table in that regard, right?
Yeah, and that's where we need to make specific mentions of Japan, ironically enough, because I only recently discovered this while watching a video about their current economic situation. So, turns out, Japan, when it comes to their culture, is extremely fucking strict in terms of marriage. Do you want to know what the general birth rate outside of marriage is in Japan?
Yes.
2%.
Whew.
That is tiny. Here in the States, it's like 17 to 20.
Oof, man. That's, and I would argue in a lot of ways, Japan is like kind of microcosm-y of the US as well. But with them, I would say the porn thing is going to be different also, because for them, it's been in their culture a lot longer and it's been less taboo, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot less taboo than here, as Christianity shames that kind of thing. But Hinduism doesn't really mind it all that much, so long as it doesn't spiral out of control.
Hinduism.
Or at least that's what I think. That's what the primary religion of Japan is. I forgot what it was.
You are thinking of India, my friend. Buddhism and Taoism. I think Taoism is the biggest one, followed by Buddhism. And I think after that, it's a competition for a very small margin between Christian and Muslim.
I would definitely see Christians gonna come out on top of that due to what they're doing over there and trying to get all the illegal immigrants out. But yes, a very small influential aspect of Christianity is definitely in Japan.
But like you were saying though, the whole point was, yeah, they have a different relationship with porn and stuff like that over there. But it is kind of microcosmy of America if you look at what's happening in Japan, because there is a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities, is what I'm trying to say. So,
yeah.
Moving on to, let's see here. This would save millions of marriages. You know what? I'll give her that one, if only because I have heard part of the reason there's a high divorce rate is a lot of it is quoted as porn being part of it, and I think that would help men be closer to their wives in a way, to not have that distraction and temptation. But so that's one I will maybe give her, but I don't know how much of a difference it would make. Let's see here. This would save millions of children from having their innocence torn away. I kind of agree with that one. This would force men to get off their asses and do the work of courting women. This is one I disagree with, and I think you might
me
as
too,
well.
very heavily.
So this is like, just because you take it away doesn't mean that the dudes are gonna go magically learn how to talk to women, right? And this is a space where I will say that that people don't realize, when coming from a Christian perspective, obviously, a lot of people, even Christians, say this a lot of time, where it's like, oh, just go look in the Bible and it'll tell you all you need to know. I will tell you that though the Bible can give you the answers to your spiritual life and following God and all that kind of stuff, it won't teach you how to do advanced arithmetic, right? It won't teach you how to build a rocket ship. And one of the things it also doesn't teach you how to do is about female nature and how to talk to women and how to be a man that women, in some like vague ways, it talks about how to be a man that women are, that can be attracted to, but it doesn't do it necessarily in a blatant, like, here's the steps to do it. And in those cases, you need to find mentors who can teach you that kind of stuff. And so going back to this girl, so I don't think just taking away porn would magically make these guys know how to talk to women, right? Or how to treat them, to keep women, right?
Yeah, it's much like the same thing with older women teaching younger women how to keep their man once they get one and know how to work with him. Vice versa.
Yes, and that's something we've lost. And even on my end, I'm not going to call out Papa Dutch for anything. My parents, I believe, did the best that they could with the information that they had at the time. And obviously boomers had a very different time that they grew up in. I would argue much easier in a lot of ways, including in the relationship courting aspect of things. But I think my experience is similar to a lot of experiences. Please let me know, chat, if I am correct in saying this, that I didn't have my dad or a big brother or anybody to, my dad was around, but they didn't come and talk to me about, like, oh, this is how you talk to a woman. This is how you attract a woman. This is how you keep a woman. If you want to make sure that you're the head of the household and you're respected, you should do this, that, or the other thing with women. You should treat women this way. This is how things are looking right now in the current society, community, whatever, with women, right? So I didn't have that, and I don't think a lot of people got that.
And one thing I will definitely mention, as I'm seeing chat here, I do agree with Dildo here. They don't get porn usage if you have a wife or GF, unless she's not doing the physical intimate part very much, if at all. Then you don't see why porn would be an equation in the relationship. So outside of that, it would also require a few other factors playing into it. One, is there stuff going on? Two, is there constant arguing, bickering going on in the relationship? Three, is she the starter of the aggression half the time? Because there's a bunch of factors that equate to why porn gets used in a relationship. And unfortunately, usually 9 times out of 10, it's usually sexual frustration that happens because either, one, the person is just not horny whatsoever. Two, they're probably going around behind your back and cheating on you with someone else, hence why they're not horny with you, because sexually, you're just not even a thing anymore. They found someone hotter, more fun, and more dangerous. Because if we look at NTR stories, for example, the Mr. Nice, safe guy who has a lot of money, he's a bit boring, but he's a safe, financial, secure, and a loving man, versus the Mr. Bad, Mr. Abandoned, got little to no money, and risks the dangerous life. And usually in those kinds of stories, the women usually want a lot of fun.
Yep. And that's, again, well, and that's something that, again, men don't get taught. It's like a lot of men, get taught, you know, you just follow the rules, you get a good job, you stay the straight and narrow. I don't even think most men up until the last like 10, maybe 20 years were being taught to, you know, go work out, get in shape, all that kind of stuff. But it's really like, it is to the point right now, in my opinion, that you kind of have to be a Renaissance man to be able to get a good, stable woman. And you have to remember to not get too comfortable. Once you do, you still have to kind of keep up that Renaissance man lifestyle. And that, I mean, pursuing a goal, having a job, also being able to do like either some art, as in like playing an instrument or drawing or something like that, doing something interesting and creatively. You also have to be in shape. You have to have all these things. I wouldn't say, as Deke pointed out, I wouldn't say the money is the important thing. It's more about, because unless you want to attract gold diggers, like you brought up, it's more so like you're showing that you value yourself highly, you value your time highly, you do things that's productive with your time, and you, no matter what, whether the girl wants to be with you or not, you're gonna still keep going and doing those things that are gonna better yourself, right? So,
Yeah.
and I don't think a lot of men were taught that. A lot of men were just like, okay, you go get the 9 to 5, you go get the 9 to 5 and you make decent enough money to like have an apartment or maybe a house suit at some point in the future. Or I guess you go to college to get a better job so that you can, but not told what to get a degree in. You go to college to get a better job just by having the piece of paper, and then you get a house, and then the wife and the white picket fence come along and everything's good, right? That's what I think a lot of men were taught. And it's like, bro, that is not how it is at all.
Yeah, different times, and we need to have a discussion about what the nuclear family looks like in 2026 onwards, because unfortunately, the times back then versus now, the economy is a lot worse. The economy has gotten harder to get. No one's getting jobs anymore. No one's getting job callbacks because, one, they're either getting replaced by H-1B visas, you know, employees from literally across the fucking world, mostly from India, because if you look at the large company employers, Google and various other things, they have Indian CEOs and leaders. Therefore, there's going to be a racial preference because, guess what? Tribalism kicks in. And unfortunately, when a majority white nation is getting overrun by a bunch of Indians who prefer hiring other Indians and not giving the white folk their job, guess what's going to start happening? More and more white men are not going to be able to get a job. Therefore, they're not going to have the spare money to get a house, start a family, and have the things that they would need to provide for the family. Therefore, they get depressed, they feel unmotivated, or even severe burnout, depending on what job they already have. And therefore, the woman's going to notice and think that, you know, he's completely lost everything in life, including her, so therefore she's going to start acting out. Therefore, she's probably going to start cheating on you, and that's only going to add more and more and more until it all explodes.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear, it's not like we're blaming men here or anything like that. I know you aren't especially, but it's like, to me, it's a balance of, it's like everybody is taught wrong. Everybody's having bad communication. Everybody's, and it, honestly, like the people who I would blame the most, I think everyone needs to take personal responsibility and personal accountability, obviously, of their own lives. But I would say there is stuff outside of us that has molded us into who we are. And unless you realize that and start fighting against it, you can't really turn that around. And I do mean that in the way of like society, the government, even our parents or the people around us who had it easier would be like, I would say, again, boomers, Gen X. It's like they kind of molded our generations, and you have to kind of undo a bunch of brainwashing before you can start building back up in the modern times and understanding what we're dealing with now, right?
Yep.
So moving on with what she said here. So I don't think, like I said, just to cap that off here, I don't think it would get a lot of men off their asses to meet women, especially with, and actually we can go into this a little bit too, Tylen, with how women are, a lot of women are, I'm not going to say all women, obviously not all women, but how a lot of women are nowadays with being entitled, feminists, and not in the way of like, not in the old way where they just wanted rights and stuff like that, and I'm not going to comment on that even tonight, but in the current way where it's like they want more and more and more over everybody else, obviously, and how they treat men, right? So
Oh yeah, like it's absolutely deplorable.
so it's not, you're not going to get men to get off just because you take away porn. You're not going to get men off their asses to go pursue what I would say is a majority, whether that be 51% or it be, you know, like 80%. I don't know what the stats are on that, but of women who do held these ideas and are what the Bible would call quarrelsome. And go ahead and let me, you go off on that, because I know you have a lot to say about that.
So my issue with women, especially concerning the fact that, one, you know, I'm definitely a bit more effeminate, and therefore more women are gonna feel more safe around me and giving me the deets of their little dark secrets, because surprise, surprise, I don't pose as a sexual threat to them. So therefore, they kind of consider me as part of the in crowd, and I can tell you up front, these women be all sorts of bitches and love causing all sorts of problems. These low grade women are definitely part of the fucking problem, but they think that they're part of the high class of women that, oh, I'll get myself a nice man, he'll be handsome, rich, and this and that. Meanwhile, literally, I reacted to a video of a woman who's going, princess treatment is where he's treating you nicely and just, no. The princess treatment for little old me is that he pays for my house, he pays for all the bills, and pays for all the food for me, but he's nowhere near me. He's off in his own little thing, like in the shed in the garage or somewhere, and that's my princess treatment. Well, I hope you're happy being alone, and I hope all your eggs dry up like the miserable bitch you are. My God, lady.
It's, yeah, and this is the current dating market in the West and stuff like that. I can get into a different into answers to these later, but right now we're just talking about the problem, as this is the what you commented on and your comments. So but yeah, I agree. It's and this isn't from me knowing anybody. Obviously, one, I'll be real with you. I don't talk to, when I was before the Duchess, yes, I did talk to women, and like a few of them, obviously. But since the Duchess, I don't talk to women. So I'm on the opposite end from Tylen, where I'm like, I don't keep up with women. I don't know how women talk. Even if women did talk to me, you know, I'm a straight dude, and I'm very blunt, and I will call people out on their bullshit. Even women, I don't care about their feelings, except for my mom and my wife. Like, those are the main women that I care about their feelings and actually being gentle with my words. But if it's just a woman and she's being a bitch, as you said, and she's saying all these crude, horrible things, like, bro, I'm not above calling it out. So needless to say, one, I don't talk to women very often out of respect for my wife, but two, even if I did talk to women, most of them don't want to tell me stuff that would be like what you said, because I'm aggressive, I'm intimidating, and I would call people on bullshit to their face. So,
well, that's the thing. I did that with these women too, and they were like, "Wait, Tyler, what are you doing? I thought you were besties." No, bitch. When you're acting like a manipulative fucking cunt, I'm gonna call it out.
Yeah. So let me read some of chat here. I know I've been behind. My bad, guys. Me and Tylen have had, it's a good conversation. That's why I brought it up. So, we got Bat Derp in the chat. Good to see you, Bat Derp. Let's see here.
Nice to meet ya.
And by the way, I didn't say it, but everybody go follow. Let me at least get your Twitter, because then they can get you from your Twitter. Let me link the post that you made on this, and then people can get you from your Twitter. Please go follow Tylen. Go check out Tylen. He streams. He does a lot of JRPGs, and then he does drama breakdowns or commentary, kind of like I do. Of course, I want to make it clear, and I ran this past Tylen at the beginning, and I'm glad he's understanding. Just know he does do some lewd posting and stuff like that. I don't necessarily approve of everything he posts. We don't have to agree on everything that either of us posts, or that, and we could still come together and have these discussions. I'm just making it clear for people watching, especially anyone who might be like, oh, Dutch, you're always so against porn, but you know, Tylen's over here in a Speedo on his freaking AI art or whatever. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't approve of that, but that doesn't mean Tylen's not, that doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to him. If you don't talk to people that you have disagreements with and that do stuff that maybe you don't disagree with, you're never going to understand each other and have even the possibility of the person being like, oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I will stop doing that. Or maybe I can meet in the middle and be like, maybe I should roll it back a little bit or whatever. They're not necessarily going to say that, but you'll never have the chance of them even thinking that if you don't at least talk to them, right?
And not only that, I make the distinction that if Dutch here ever unfollows me, I'm fully gonna be aware it's because of what I post on Twitter in regarding to my VTuber. And I would be perfectly understanding because of his stance. I'm not gonna sit here and bastardize him going, oh, why do you unfollow me? You just hate what I do with my account. Well, it's my account. No, shut the fuck up. What you're not gonna do is sit here and play that stupid little game with me when I've had that kind of situation happen to me before, and I very much do not appreciate the frickin' follow of friends and trying to police them. So perhaps we can be adults here.
I know you're talking about recent stuff. We won't be specific. We'll vague post a little bit, but I know you're...
Oh, no. Like, that has happened to me over the years. I shit you fucking not.
So that, and I agree. It's like, even if I unfollow a person or mute them, like sometimes I do with some people, it doesn't mean like if they came to me and talked to me, or for example, like if, because it's usually a lot of female VTubers for me, especially because it's like, it's not a double standard. It's just that men and women are different. And obviously I don't have any, I still have issues with lewd posting from men, but I don't necessarily, like, it's not affecting me because I'm not gay, right? So it is a little bit different. But but even if some of the, I guess, female VTubers came to DJ, shout out DJ, came to DJ and were like, oh, hey, can I do a collab with Dutch? I want to come on his show and talk about this thing, but I don't know why he's muted me or blocked me or whatever. It's like, I'd go through DJ and be like, look, dude, like, I'm cool with it as long as there's another dude on stream with me talking at the same time, but I don't care. I'll come listen to opinions and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you and I don't have to follow you, because obviously I don't want to be like promoting that, but I could still talk to you. I could still be your friend. I could still play video games with you or whatever. It's just that, you know, I want to be consistent as possible with what I put out there as my beliefs. I don't want to be like, oh, people being like, oh, you're just picking favorites because they're your friend, right? Like, that's not, I feel like that's hypocritical.
Well, not like that, it's also coming down to the same situation where, like, okay, so ladies, I'm gonna make this abundantly fucking clear for you airheads in the back there that don't seem to quite fucking understand. Surprise, if you're not joining streams with dudes because of the reason of them being a potential sex pest, guess what's gonna start happening, especially with all these claims of how women have been ruining their fucking relationships for being fucking sex pests. Dudes who are married are not gonna want to deal with your happy ass and run the potential risk of you trying to shove a fucking wedge into the relationship and causing it to fucking fail miserably, especially if it's a good relationship. It's a two-way street, ladies.
Yeah. Also, what's up, Alex? See you later, Deke. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, and that's my whole point. I love the Duchess so much. I respect her, and my personal opinion on it is just that, from a realistic perspective, unless it's the Duchess's friends or someone we know mutually, something like that, I personally believe that men and women, straight, heterosexual, obviously, men and women can't be purely platonic friends without some certain circumstances coming up. So it's like, I know we're kind of going off on a yap different than the thing that we were talking about before, but yeah, it's that's the whole thing. It's like, it's purely out of respect for my wife, and because I don't want any of that stuff being labeled at me, right? So I'm very careful with that.
Yeah, because even if the stream was recorded and everyone can call out the bullshit, it still doesn't change the fact that the accusation can ruin not only his online life, but also affect his IRL relationship too, making the Duchess think, wait, was he really out cheating on me with this stranger lady?
Exactly. And it's something where I want to be able to go back and be like, look, I have all the evidence. I didn't do anything. I've never seen this person before. I've never talked to this person. It's I've told people before, it's the Mike Pence stance, and I'm not particularly fond of Mike Pence, but this one stance I do agree with, which is that he was like, unless my wife's in the room and or the door's open and I have a bunch of witnesses, I do not talk to women by myself. So, like, alone.
Unfortunately, that's also a side effect of the current culture, too. So many women have been negatively impacted by this situation because of all the false rape accusations. So now men are kind of just doing it for self-preservation and to avoid all the bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Let's go back to this. Let's see here. Let's see what you guys are talking about. I know we said hi to Alex. Let's see here. Later, Deke. Shaggins puts mayo on everything. No. Dill said Kai kind of puts mayo on everything. That's disgusting. Unless it's spicy mayo. I'm good with spicy mayo on almost anything. Let's see here.
Yeah, looks like the chat was having a little bit of fun of potential lewd posing ideas.
Donnie, lewd posting is good. But no, I disagree, Donnie. Sorry to tell you. Do not approve. I'm going to get the bad of consequences. Let's see here. Kyrion said he likes mayo on pizza.
Ew.
That's... How do you feel about that?
If it's your jam, and if you really like it, more to you. Not me personally, thank you, though.
I'm good. I'm good. You know what? I still can't blame him because I have this like creamy chipotle sauce I really like, and I guess you could consider that maybe there's mayo in there or something like that. I put that shit on everything, so.
I definitely have had a 4-cheese pizza before. That was really good. But I've even had a ranch and chicken pizza before. But
ranch is good on
putting
pizza.
mayo on it. Huh?
Ranch is good on pizza.
Yeah, true. But the idea of mayo on it, I'm sorry, that's just a texture nightmare.
So Dill is saying no, that never happened. Texture nightmare? I mean, kind of a little bit, but then you get, if you put like ricotta on pizza, it has a similar texture. I feel maybe it's not as, it's more creamy than chunky, I guess. Mayo's kind of a little bit chunky.
That's true.
So anyways, let's see here. Going back to what she was saying, let's see force men to get off their asses. This would save millions of women from being exploited and trafficked. That I do agree with to an extent as well, because I know there's a lot of that going on in the prawn industry.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent too.
Literally no downside demanding. I will say aside from the black market, I don't see that much of that. I do not see any downsides except for a black market being made for porn. That's the only downside I see of banning porn. But I want to bring it back to what you said. It couldn't just be porn as in like video porn, and she mentions a lot of men in this thing. It would also have to be the smut books as well. It would have to be equal both sides.
But that's where the problem... No, they're just literature. They don't do anything in like a video. Yeah, yes they do. Have you not read the fanfics?
Yeah, and it'll always be... It's always going to come down to the men, and I'm going to say, maybe controversial, maybe hot take, that it is actually almost always on the men, because we make the rules, we're supposed to be the leaders, all that kind of stuff. But... Again, nuanced, especially because the average man obviously doesn't have the power to change the government, the laws, all that kind of... the average man doesn't have the power to flip the whole culture on his head without a bunch of average men coming together and doing something about it.
Pretty much.
So it is a nuanced take, but it's like, in a big way, yes, it is kind of all men because we allowed this to spiral down and didn't contest it. But it's an everyone issue. Again, women still read the Morning Glory milking farm, and so like there's some accountability that still needs to be taken there, or given by men to women, being like, no, you need to take accountability for this kind of stuff. So it would be that, I'm just bringing it up in that it would be, if they were going to do it, they would have to be equal on both sides, and also take away the female version, right? So
I will make mention here, as I got a little curious about how many sales Morning Glory has made. It has sold over 1 million copies worldwide, according to this on Amazon.com.
Oh boy, that's
Keep in mind, this thing. Hold on.
that's not good.
Let me check to see when this released, because that also plays a major factor. It was originally released in August 3rd of 2021, but it only recently gained notoriety. So, this thing has been out for a little while.
Yeah, but then it got memed, and then so whenever you get a meme, you get people who are gonna buy it for the meme, as Nanis did, and then you get people who are gonna buy it and actually buy it. And when it popped off as a meme, I think there's more people who are buying it to actually read it, I think, but you do also have a subset, I would say maybe a quarter, who are buying it for the meme.
Yeah.
Because it did really pop off like earlier this year, end of last year, so when it got popular.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact, like you said, the women are buying these, a lot of women are buying these, and it is literally just the female version of porn. It's porn for women.
Yeah. And that's the fundamental problem that I don't think most people realistically realize. Like, yes, porn addiction is more common on men because, surprise, men are gonna need more stuff to do, and therefore they need the distraction. And what also knocks two birds with one stone? Sexual attraction. And if they find something really good and get hooked on into it, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna keep going back, and they're most likely gonna buy some of it to keep on hand, whether they're on the road and don't have access to any Wi-Fi, or download it. Now, obviously, it depends whether or not it's illegal. Because unfortunately, there is a market out there for the illegal interests.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And this is the biggest problem with banning porn. It's not going to solve the core issue of the economy. Culture. Women having unrealistic standards for men, thinking that they're 10 out of 10s when realistically they're more like 5, 6, 7s. Maybe 4, 3s, 2s in terms of the actual rating scale. Like, if people were to remain in their own bracket instead of getting both porn fried and also expectation fried, because they're fed all this ironic propaganda of like thinking, oh, you're a girl, you can do whatever you want, and a man who wants you is gonna do everything he can for you. Like, I'm sorry, honey. When you're realistically like a 5 or 6, average at best, and you're trying to get a 8, 9, 10, who's like early 20s, make 6 figures, high 6 figures, 6'3", 4.
The six sixes.
Yep, and a big schlong downstairs, honey, you're gonna have to give something up.
Yeah. Let's see here from Dill. Not really porn addiction among men. Symptom male loneliness epidemic. What caused the male loneliness epidemic? Feminism corrupted anti-sex women. No male loneliness epidemic. Very low porn issues. Yeah, I agree to a certain extent that it's there. I know it's difficult because YouTube gives you a limited number of characters. So it is a little bit difficult to read that. I'm not sure if he's saying that there is no thing like porn addiction. I think there is. There's definitely such a thing as porn addiction, porn brain. But I do agree that the whole side of women not being marriageable material, or having a high body count and having too high a standards, and also basically the feminism thing that has overtaken a lot of the West, I would say that is part of the reason that a lot of men have turned to porn and then get addicted. And so then if they do get into a good relationship, they have trouble quitting it, and it ruins their relationship.
And that's actually the funny thing, as porn addiction is actually one of the more easiest addictions to fix, but the problem being is you develop that ritual/habit around it. That's what also leads to the addiction. Because if you're just wanting it on occasion as spank material, because let's say the boyfriend or girlfriend is out on a business trip and they're not there, sure, whatever. Just get it out of your system. But that's why I would also encourage people to use sex toys, but that's another conversation for later. But let's say, for example, someone who actually is in a good relationship and is actively trying to provide as much as they can for the partner, but the person's just like, I'm insatiable, I need more. Then you need to have one or two conversations. Either one, discuss on porn addiction, because that's realistically what's going to happen because they've developed a ritual around it. Or two, maybe you leave the relationship if they're too porn fried, because unfortunately some people do develop addictions either before the relationship or sometime during a rough spot in the relationship. That's how these things usually tend to sneak in. But that's where cheating also usually becomes a huge factor in that too, because if they're porn addicted, guess what they're usually gonna go afterwards if, the porn ain't quite doing it.
Yeah, it's always a progression, and that's, I mean, from a Christian perspective, that's first of all, got to make the clarification. I don't agree with the jerking off at all, and I don't agree with sex toys. But from a Christian perspective, going back to the other thing though, is that it's that for us it would be considered like the sin. It takes a hold and starts growing and growing and growing, and it gets worse and worse. And like you said, it's like one thing it's one thing to just be watching porn every once in a while, but then it turns into, oh, I need it to get off completely, no matter what situation it is, and then it goes to, well, now I need even more depraved porn. And then it's like, at some point you go to, okay, now I need the real thing in a more depraved way with a real person that's not my partner. It's like, I'm not saying that's what happens to every person, but it is a path that is likely for a lot of people who are in that situation, in that headspace, that sin keeps growing, right? So
yeah.
And again, good place to mention, since I brought it up just a second ago, my affiliates and sponsors do not necessarily agree with everything that we say or believe on this podcast.
Yup.
They are just my affiliates and my sponsors. So they have their own set of beliefs and stuff. I try to uphold it as best as possible, but they do not necessarily agree or approve of everything that we talk about here.
And one thing on my streams, I do discuss about sex toys, and mostly in a way to help prevent people cheating, because are there going to be rough spots in a relationship where one person's really wanting to give you the shag, but the other person's like either going through stuff or just really sick as a dog and therefore just not really in the mood, or their body is giving them all sorts of hell? That's where I would encourage people to go use a toy every once in a while. Just get it out of your system and then go help out the partner. But that's where sex toy addiction can also be a thing too, because, well, you kind of like the feeling of the toy just a little more than the person, which is also another problem.
Yeah, because again, it's that whole, it makes unrealistic standards, right? And And what I would say about that, at least again, to give you the Christian perspective, or what I've read, how it is understood, how it has been taught, whatever you want to say, the conviction that's been given to me is is that if it is a situation where something comes up like a work trip or whatever, one thing with that is just, it's like a patience thing, and it's like a longing building. You don't do it because you wait until the person comes back, whatever, because of that kind of stuff. But if it's the whole someone's just dog tired and all that kind of stuff, it's on the one person to be able to have the patience and will to wait. But it is also, and I have talked about this with Kai, so Dill may have heard some of it, but a lot of people in Christianity, in the church, don't have for a long time, I think it's getting better, but have for a long time basically been told, the men, right, the whole happy wife, happy life thing. So if the wife is like, oh, I'm tired, and she says that every night for a month, and you only get it like once a month or whatever, it's like the church teaches you, like, as a man, like, that's your job to submit and just be okay with it and serve your wife well and love her well, right? But what a lot of churches have glazed over is that in the Bible, it directly says that men do not withhold yourself from your wives, and wives do not withhold yourself from your men. I want to make it clear, I'm obviously not saying forced anything. Obviously not.
Oh God, no.
But there is an obvious and clear ruling that you guys aren't supposed to withhold yourselves from each other in that sexual way, except for a time to the exception is for a time of fasting and prayer to the Lord, but only for a time, and then you go back to being man and wife, because part of the reason that God created marriage and sex, and what at least in the Bible it says, is that if you are burning, it is good to find a good, they're talking to men, obviously, it is good to find a good woman, be with one woman, and quench your burnings together, as in on both sides. So it's like, obviously, again, nuance, you should have discussions about this, but the church has glossed over that verse with women, where it's like, you're also not supposed to be withholding yourself from your husband. So if they're not getting it for, a month, only on their birthday, only on holidays, like, that is obviously, it is in a sense a sin, honestly.
Yeah, and that's where, like, honest to God discussions of like, honey, I know you're probably going through a rough patch, but I really miss the cuddles, I miss the intimacy, I miss all this and that. And if they just give you a cold soldier and go like, oh babe, I've just been really busy and work's really important. Well, to say that's not a form of neglect would be a fucking lie. Like, we see that kind of story all the time with the husbands saying that they're so work focused and this and that, and the poor wives are neglected. Therefore, they're wanting to go fuck the milkman to feel some kind of love. But on the other hand, who says it doesn't happen to the men?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna bring up too. It's also with the women thing too. It's like it seems in a lot of cases, I won't even say a majority, but a lot of cases, it seems like they will withhold it for personal gain, obviously, like using it as a weapon, or just because, like you said, maybe they're just not, it's weird because it's like they either fall out of love with the husband, or they just don't see them sexually anymore, but then they have eyes for other people and are allowed. And it's, again, in society, I'm not even saying Christianity or whatever, obviously it's not, but in society, it's obviously women get a pass when they want to go have wandering eyes, but when men do it, it's always a beat with a stick, right? So when it's women that are getting it done, it's like, oh, well, my needs weren't getting met. But when it's a man, they're like, oh, you're a bad husband, all this other stuff. So,
and this is where, like, to a degree, not always, I want to make my stance perfectly clear on this. There are men who are victims of this situation, but this is where I do need to blame men to some degree because of people like Bonnie Blue. The 1,000 men challenge? Yeah, sorry, man. I don't care if it was a one-time thing. Y'all knew what you were getting yourselves into. Y'all knew what you were signing up for. Like, don't get me wrong. Men, I want to love y'all. I want to support y'all. I want y'all to improve and find yourselves a nice, happy wife and have a happy life and with a large family, a good job, a good house. You know, the whole 9 yards of the fucking American dream. But we gotta have some level of accountability here.
Yeah.
Why are y'all going for fucking Bonnie Blue and her 1,000 men bullshit here?
Okay, let's be a little bit fair. Let's be just a little bit fair on that one. And I'm not defending what they did, because I do denounce that. But one, it was like new college age guys, which was honestly predatory on her part, in my opinion. As in just 18 dudes, and you know those guys are going to take whatever they can get. Most of those guys are going to take whatever they can get in our current society.
No, I didn't even know that fact. Oh no. Oh.
And two, at least for the 1,000 whatever thing, from the commentary channels I watched, to be honest, it seemed like it was a lot of scholars from other countries, so to speak, that were in the UK or other countries that she was in, if you catch my drift.
Oh, how simply adorable.
I'm not saying it wasn't native populations, but it did seem like it was a majority of people who weren't there for the last 1,000 years.
See, this is where I also need to make mention of Bonnie Blue and her creepy ass comments, because we all know for a fact in this chat and in this stream, if a man was saying about freshly 18 women, we all know what would happen.
Exactly. I think, in fairness, I will say, I think she did get called out a couple times by news people. That she obviously didn't get grilled. Like, they brought it up. So I'll give them that they brought it up, that it was kind of weird that she was looking for like college age guys or brand new college guys, but they didn't obviously give her the hardball questions. They didn't keep pursuing it. They just kind of made it a couple of things and been, oh, that's kind of weird, isn't it? And she's like, yeah, but blah, 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 blah. And then they went, okay, and moved on. So, it's, no.
Speaking of which, Dildo Shaggins mentions, Thailand, the problem is not a lot of us are not looking for Bonnie Blues. We just end up finding psychos, fake trauma victims, abusers, and manipulators who are wolves in sheep clothing. Yes, that part I am not blaming men for. There is a bunch of crazy fucking ladies out there, and yes, I do want women to be held accountable and held to a higher standard. I need to make my stance on that clear. But I'm talking about the men that are participating in this kind of industry that's allowing these women to do the stuff they want to do on OF, Fancy, Pornhub, and all these adult sites that are making fun and exploiting men for their male loneliness epidemic.
Mm-hmm. It's all feeding back into, I would say, it's because I think someone brought this up on like a whatever the whatever podcast. I think one of the OF women brought this up. It's that vicious cycle, chicken and the egg, right? It's the women wouldn't be doing it if the men weren't paying for it, but the men wouldn't be paying for it if women weren't doing it. And I think it's on the other end. Again, it's like, it's for women, it's easy to say that if men weren't paying for it, women wouldn't be doing it. But the society has put men into a situation where it's like, a lot of them don't have much more than that. So
yeah, it's kind of like, this is the best case scenario considering I have no money, my job's not that great, I have no home, I don't have a car, I don't have a stable structure for myself, let alone being able to take care of a woman and a family. Now, naturally, a good woman would help you out, help you learn self-esteem, figure out your problems, work with you through those said problems. But a lot of these women do not want to put the work into the relationship that a man wants. Now, could that because, one, they're exploitative bitches? Yes. Are there women out there who are so scorned by previous relationships because of bad experiences? Yes. But this is where a perfect case scenario in whatever kind of situation needs to happen for some people to get into relationships nowadays. That isn't outside of just friends with benefits or just sex buddies, because that's another thing that's going on, is that instant gratification.
Yep. The and to answer Dill, yes, Fansly, from what I understand, is it's a prawn site, but obviously OnlyFans and Fansly promote themselves as more than just that. You know, they claim that it's like a place where you can pay people to like watch them make recipes and all this stuff. It's not. It's mostly just porn.
Yeah. OF actually originally had a ban on porn up until 2018. They originally were more so general stuff for people who enjoyed work. Let's say if you were a YouTuber and you wanted more direct videos for people to pay like $5 a month to and help them out with their progress and put out helpful guides. That would be another way to help support the creator that you really liked. Unfortunately, when they removed that ban in 2018, they kind of hit a fucking gold mine, and ever since then, more and more women, especially on fucking TikTok, have been going to sites like OF because of, well, the herd mentality of hearing, hey ladies, you want to own a successful business with your body and have all these men craving your attention and make so much free money and be able to own other businesses? Like Amaranth, as she initially started as an OF model, still is, but she actually owns a couple of reputable gas stations, which they're actually in a positive, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Which is really rare.
Yeah, no, it's I watched that. I know what you're referencing because I watched that financial audit too. Apparently, I mean, she owns those. She originally bought that land and bought the gas stations not to actually turn a profit on them, but just for the tax reasons, because I guess it gave her enough of a tax break where it paid off for itself, right? But then the gas stations also make money, so she's also making a profit there. Like, it's just insane. And then she was saying on that financial audit, funny enough, financial audit, guys, count it, go ahead and take a sip of your soda if you have it. Financial audit mentioned. Bingo card. She mentioned she didn't want to stop doing the OnlyFans until she made enough money to fund like an animal rehab center that she was the real thing she wanted to do for the rest of her life, right? Well, how much money do you need for that? Because I know she has a shit ton of money. She lives in California now, not Texas anymore. She lives in California in a big gated mansion. Like, how much money do you need to make your rehabilitation center? It seems like she could have done that 3 times over and still hasn't yet.
And see, that's where, like, if I was in that kind of situation as she was and was doing half the shit she was doing, then yes, I would give a little more credence going, oh, well, at least she's smart with her money. But on the other hand, like, bitch, really? You went out to fucking California? Really?
Yep. So, but let's get back to what you commented here. Let's see here. It's allowed free access without any form of mitigation of parents not using the tools at their disposal to prevent the children at home from seeing it. I think Tomahawks, I'm going to shout out Tomahawks here. And also, I should bring up, Alex said hi to you, by the way, Tylen.
Hi,
Alex
Alex.
MQZ. That I agree with this completely, that this is it, but I will put us a little bit of nuance into this one, which is that, yes, I agree completely. Parents need to be responsible for their kids. They need to be responsible for what they're watching. They need to put, adult content blockers on the computer if they're going to allow the kids to be on the computer unsupervised, which honestly, I kind of feel like you shouldn't, at this point, you shouldn't allow your kid on the computer unsupervised. But this is where the nuance comes in with the parents, is that I agree It's on the parents. The parents should be held accountable in this respect. But with society the way it is, obviously how it is now, the parents are working. I can say, even as me, I'm not even a parent yet. God willing, hopefully one day I will be.
Hopefully.
I go to work 8 hours at least, right? Five times a week. I have an hour commute both ways. I go to the gym for one.
You're kidding.
I go to the gym for 1 or 2 hours, 3 to 4 times a week. I basically only have time when I get home to sit down and eat dinner with the Duchess and talk to her and have that bonding moment with her before we have to go to sleep and do it all over again, because I get up at like 4 a.m. to go to work. So,
oh God, you poor thing. Oh my God.
And I'm not even the worst. I would like to bring up, I'm not going to say his schedule or anything like that, because I don't know if he wants me to make it public, but I will say that Lucky Bach has an even crazier schedule. So to that, I would say, and then also on top of that, you have the women have to work now. It's not like before where the women could be watching over the kids all day, right? The women have to work as well. So it's very, I can understand in that respect. It's Billy Donuts. Oh my gosh, random. Billy Donuts is here and he says donuts are the solution. I say Christ is the solution, but donuts are a close second.
Ooh, donuts do sound good right now.
What kind of donut would you like Billy to get you? He always brings in a donut for everybody whenever he comes into a stream.
Ooh, lemon flavored one sounds really good, topped with powdered sugar.
I like apple fritter or old-fashioned cinnamon sugar. So, but moving on, so I will bring that nuance where it's like, yes, I want to hold parents accountable and say they should either not be letting their kids onto the computer unsupervised, or at the very least have the tools set up on the computer for if the kid's going to be unsupervised, where it's the most protection possible. That being said, kids are very tech savvy nowadays. We had a friend in the Discord at one point, I think he's still in there, he's just not active, who talked about his parents setting up the parental blocks and stuff like that on the computer, and within a week he figured out how to get around all of that protection. So there's that. There's the parents working. They can't be as present with the kids, which they really should be. But that I don't blame on them. I blame on the society for making it a 2-parent working household, needing it to be that way. And also for a lot of parents either having to work, like I said, having a job where you're not actually there for 8 hours. You're there for 8 hours plus a commute, or you do overtime, or a lot of people have 2 jobs. If they're lucky enough to get jobs, they have 2 jobs just to provide for the family. So I will provide that nuance in that it is a lot harder for parents to protect their kids nowadays.
And see, that's where I actually fully agree with that. Well, yes, parents should be held accountable for their kids being on the internet, and there are tools to help prevent them. Even calling up the fucking internet provider going, hey, I need you to block these specific sites. I got a kid that's old enough that can get on them, and I need y'all to block it immediately. Obviously, if you're going to put your kid on a tablet 24/7 as a fucking babysitter, guess what's going to eventually happen?
They're going to figure it out. They always do.
Yeah, and like, this is where I'm more and more agreeing with, just keep the kids off the goddamn internet at this point, for fuck's sakes.
Unless it's for like school or something like that. But at that point, if it's for school, again, I would say, if you have them on it for school, just sit with them and make sure they're looking up the right stuff and they're not getting distracted or whatever. So second point, let's see here. Porn is allowed to grow uncontrolled as it is because it's exploiting the current situation of both male loneliness and female loneliness, because it puts into a cycle of women thinking being raging hooers can net them tons of money for free without working, and thus it's working against them because men can't find any women who isn't a HO3, 304. Therefore, it creates a vicious cycle. I agree with that. And I know Dill brought up earlier that there is no female loneliness epidemic, but with that, I disagree. And I think I disagree with you, Tylen, in that there is a female loneliness epidemic made of their own design. And they complain about not being able to find a good man, not being able to hold down a good man, but they also don't seem to be able to see the issues on their part and take accountability on their part on what needs to change on their part.
Yeah.
To fix that loneliness epidemic.
That's where I actually wholly agree with you, because I think I could have mentioned that in my post a little more clearly in regards of women need to be held accountable. But granted, that's also been my general stance on stuff too, so I didn't think it was wholly needed to be mentioned here, considering I always mention about women taking accountability in various other posts. So
yeah, and I'm not, whoa, oh, my guy changed. Oh, I forgot. When I do numbers, I change what my guy looks like. First off, we have three or more characters, hard name to say, saying hello to everybody. Came in right now. Good to see you. I wasn't calling you out for saying that women don't need to be held accountable or anything like that. I was just bringing the nuance to obviously a Twitter post where you can't say everything you want to say in a Twitter post, right? So, I was just bringing that up.
Which is actually a fairly good point to bring up, because obviously I don't have blue Twitter anymore, so I can't make as giant posts as I used to. You can thank the Mad Lab Baron for giving me a random 3-month sub to Twitter Blue, the crazy bitch.
Thank you, Baron. Yeah. And I wasn't like honestly, I agree with pretty much what you say. It's more so adding to it as opposed to critiquing it on that regard. Men need to stop feeding into it and focus on self-improvement. The right lady will eventually come along, but you also need to have the balls to take the initiative. I, again, agree and disagree. I think, I agree. Men should be focusing more on self-improvement. I get that it is difficult without the guarantee of a reward at the end, as far as like a family and stuff like that, because nobody can guarantee you that. And that's where I would have the nuance with it, which is that saying the right woman will come along, and that I try to be very careful. And Deke brought this up earlier, getting used to be like making peace, and I want to be very careful with this, because I know Dill and his cousin Kai, I know I've had discussions with Kai. I'm not going to get into all the details about it, but I get that it is difficult for a lot of men to come to terms with that, if not close to impossible, that with the possibility of like being alone for the rest of your life. I don't think many men should be, but I think in our current situation, it is a possibility and a difficulty, especially if you don't want to compromise with what the world has done with a lot of women. And it is one of the things, and it sucks because I'm saying it from a place of having a wife, but I can only speak from my past, which is that before I met the Duchess and I was just in the dating scene or whatever, I did have a serious conversation with myself and God, and like meditating and stuff like that, where I was like, basically I looked at all the facts and I said to myself, okay, look, just statistically, there is a high probability that there will not be a woman that meets the standards that I have for a good godly woman, at least in the West, and even in a lot of other parts of the world. It's very difficult to find. So I had to sit and talk to myself and be like, okay, and God, from a Christian perspective, me talking to God, I was like, if there's nobody like this with with the standards that I had, and I didn't think they were unrealistic standards, but for the modern world, it is a very difficult thing to have those standards. I said, if those standards aren't met, I think it was like 5 or 10 things, which really isn't a lot of things. If those things aren't met, I was like, that's fine. Then I'm going to be alone forever, and I have to learn to be okay with that. And it was very difficult, extremely difficult. And it took a long time and a lot of me talking to myself about that, talking to God about that, talking and listening to some other people talk about that. But it is important, as Deke said, I hope he's in chat and I hope he can bring his perspective to this, but that it was like, that's when I was able to let go of all of my holding on to wanting that kind of stuff and just be like, I'm still going to, in spite of possibly not getting that reward, I am going to still try to help people, help men who are going through similar things as I went through, become a better man to help those people and help younger men who are going to possibly go through the same things I'm going through and worse. And I came to terms with being like, that can be enough for me to self-improve myself. So that's the nuance I would bring there, is just that there is a possibility that no, you could self-improve and there's still not going to be a woman that meets those standards that you need, that, and especially once you self-improve, actually, I would say usually a lot of guys will get higher standards because they go, well, I did all this work now, so there needs to be more juice for the squeeze, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that's kind of something I realized after the post had been made, that, wait, could this potentially backfire on men in regards to them having unrealistic standards because of them self-improving and thinking they can go to a higher caliber than what they could realistically meet at? Which I did not come to about until, ironically, this very conversation, because this is the kind of thing I like having with people who can point out my flaws, because, oh lordy, you're the only one who's realistically pointed out the issues with this. I'm realizing, oh fuck, I may have pulled a biasy here.
Yeah, it's fine. And again, it's more so I'm adding to it. I don't want to be here to be like, oh, I'm calling you out, right? It's more so I'm adding context to what you said. And we have, I believe that's Dobromir. He's the one with the weird Russian type name. I know he's not Russian. I know he's from some Eastern European country that I always forget, but maybe Bulgaria. I feel like I'm going to be offensive right now, but hi, how's it going, dude?
Well, see, this is good to have conversations like this, because chances are, how many people, realistically, outside of our centrist / right-leaning political sphere, how many central leftists, well, granted, they're the more reasonable bunch, to more hardcore left-leaning individuals, would you be able to have conversations like this and be able to get extra context along with making different points without somehow being fucking offensive?
Yeah,
Because
I know.
And this is the problem. I'm pretty sure majority of us in this stream, in this call, and who we've all interacted with are center left or center right, depending on where we lean on various subjects. Obviously, majority of us are going to agree that porn / sex work is not the most healthiest thing. Sex work is realistically just a temporary thing until you get yourself into a better position. It's not the most glorious lifestyle, but it's gonna net you the money for the bills until you get yourself an actual job. Just don't go glorifying it once you leave it. That's where my issue lies.
Well, even then, and with the glorification of is it I think there's some chick named Sophie Rain or something like that. I watch a lot of men's, men's self-improvement, men's health. I will admit red pill kind of stuff, and they talk about this kind of stuff a lot. So I believe her name has gotten brought up, and she promotes she wants more, or she has said in interviews and stuff like that, more women should go do OF content and stuff like that, because she's one of the 1% on OF, one of the 1.001% who makes enough to pay for her parents to live after they got fired from their jobs because their jobs saw that their daughter was one of the most famous porn stars in modern history. So she can provide for her parents now. And not only that, she can own her own mansion in Miami and shit like that. So she's promoting it to other girls, but what a lot of those girls don't get, and then they still get stuck in the cycle somehow, is that the vast majority of girls on these sites are making enough to have maybe a McDonald's meal every week, right? So
Yeah.
So it's the vicious cycle, like you said, of like it's just chewing people up and spitting them out. And even Sophie Rain, I would say at some point it's gonna go the way of like either she's gonna have to, when she gets older and people aren't as interested in her or whatever, the novelty has worn off, she's gonna have to find something else to do. Maybe she's invested well enough to have other businesses that pay for her life. But if she hasn't, it could go the way of like a lot of other chicks where it's like, oh, they suddenly, and I want to say this, I got to be clear. Anyone who truly finds God, I celebrate it. It is just very difficult for me sometimes to think that some of these women, especially who came from OnlyFans and then claim that they are born again and then go and make courses and go on huge podcast like tours and stuff like that, that they are actually doing things for the right reason and not just trying to make a new career for themselves after their porn career has started to fall off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, that's where I kind of want to make mention of one thing related to Twitch, ironically. One of their new community managers is actually a former porn star. And I only found that out because Tectone was screaming to the high heavens, why did Twitch hire a porn star? Well, first of all, she's not sitting there promoting porn as far as I can tell. She's there as a community manager working for Twitch, and therefore, she is there doing a job managing the fucking community.
Mm-hmm.
What she did previously, you can eyeball it, but considering she's changed professions, unless she starts promoting it and encouraging people to go into porn, there's probably a reason why she left and went for a more safer work-oriented job like streaming video games.
Well, but if she's managing it too, I would also bring up that there could be some bias there if she has any power over the actual streamers, because you got to think there's a lot of streamers on Twitch who also have OFs. So if she's in a management position, she now has a bias towards those streamers, like Morgue Pie, for example, who gets banned every other month and then comes back, magically immediately. So,
I mean, true, I'm not going to take away that, but one thing I will point out is that Gunnar Clancy is kind of known for giving the top female streamers preferred treatment right from the rip. So, well, yes, that is a potential risk. That is right there with a community manager. We also need to look at the CEO and how he's been running the business, especially with his favoritism to Hassan Piker. Because, well, shocker. I in terms of seriousness and what needs to be handled, the community manager being a former porn star is going to be way in the bottom compared to the gooner-brained top dude there.
True. And also, sorry, Deke, you got to take whoever's drinking at one, don't drink alcohol, or if you do, drink responsibly. I'm straight edge, I don't, but everybody go ahead and take a sip of your poggers right now, because Hassan Piker mentioned. Put it on your bingo cards. Night, Dill.
As Donnie's... Oh, good night, Dill. And as what Donnie here mentions, let's be real, as long as Dan Clunesy is in charge, will a corn star really make a difference? No, because chances are he's probably telling her, hey, unban this chick. No, I don't care what you think. Unban her. And chances are she probably has a good head on her shoulders despite being a former porn star, because, well, some people are in that profession not because they like it, but because money. And also, they can still be down to earth and reasonable. It's just their profession might not match up with the logic, which, hello, same thing with me.
I understand. So let's see here. So Dill is heading out. Have a good one, Dill. Thanks for stopping in. Let's see here. What else have you guys been saying? They've just been having their own conversations. It's like they're not even paying attention. I'm joking.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. 4, women's standards have been set up to outrageous standards, like thinking a sudden 10 out of 10 guy will come and swipe her off her feet when that isn't gonna effing happen. You'd be surprised how many men within your own bracket would meet those standards, but you ladies refuse to lower your standards to a more realistic shit. Yeah, and that is a big one. That's a complete agree right now, is that there is a lot of women out there who are it's difficult to give number values because then you seem like an asshole, but it is one of the only ways to have a subjective viewpoint of or an objective viewpoint of thing is to actually be like, okay, that is objectively a this kind of person, right? And I'm not going to say that obviously. I would say this though, that let's say a 4 there's a 4, but their personality is amazing. The 4 can go up to like a 7 or an 8 pretty easy with a good personality, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But on initial looks or whatever, it's like, yeah, there are a lot of women out there. The other issue is though, if you're a 5 or even a 7 or something like that, and you have a horrible personality, you can go down to like a 2. So.
Oh yeah, let's be real. If you are a bitch, it don't matter how much paint you put on that face. If you are a raging bitch, you're gonna be a negative real quick.
So we should be clear about that, is that I was going to say, I do agree with this one. I don't think there's going to be a huge conversation because I just agree with this one completely. I think a lot of women, maybe even the majority of women, do have way too high standards for themselves. A lot of them are shooting way out of the league, and they're getting what a lot of the red pill pages talk about, which is that they will get, smashed by the 10, 9, 8 kind of guys, but they'll never be able to lock them down, but they still think that their value is at that because that guy got with them at one point, right? But the guy is not going to stick with them. So it's unfortunately, they're not understanding that it's like, they think, I think it's a thing of they're thinking of it in the way from a women's perspective, where it's like women think giving sex is like the ultimate prize for men, because usually it is for men. So they think about it the same way as like, oh, if I can get this 10 out of 10 dude to sleep with me, obviously because it's such a prize to men, it's also a prize to me to sleep with a high value man. If he sleeps with me, that he'll probably want to marry me because that means I'm also high value, but that's not how men see it, right?
Yeah. And I actually saw an analogy for this, and this is actually a really good analogy for this. So men are the havers of sex. They're gonna want their best and try to court the woman as much as possible for him to get the thing. But women are the gatekeepers of sex. They are the very thing that men want so deeply, and they can choose whichever one of the flock that they can choose.
Yeah. Yep. So that one, completely agree on. I think many women need to, it's not even lowering their standards in the way of like, you're like, oh no, you need to shoot below what you are. I'm saying like, I think, and I know you're agreeing with me in your statement, is that it's like, they just need to be putting themselves at their same level. They need to be going across the aisle as opposed to up it by like 3 or 4 steps.
Yup.
So I agree completely. It's what I have heard it called is 304 hoflation. So
Oh yeah. Ironically enough, a fair number of H-1B visas have been appointed to OF models from places like India and such.
Interesting. I did not know that. They've been appointed.
I discovered that at least 50,000 OF models were hired by H-1B visas to be workers. We know the
Quote
kind
unquote.
of work they're gonna do.
Yeah. Quote unquote workers. 6, porn addiction and porn accessibility to such the extent that it is with OF, for example, is a result of degenerate culture that isn't healthy for people on both sides of the spectrum, along with it being hookup culture at the moment, at least here in the United States for younger generations. Yes, so porn addiction and porn accessibility to such the extent that it is with OF, for example. Let's see. So yeah, I think 6 is a good culmination of everything else you said, because the porn addiction is the result of all these other factors, and then the porn accessibility is the result of the porn addiction. It's like it's a self-fulfilling cycle, right? Like the more it happens, which is why I also recommend I highly try to push to guys, don't stop paying for this. And I don't even mean just paying for it with your money. I mean, stop paying for it with your time and attention. I obviously think it should all go away, but if you're absolutely going to have to do it, at least one, be economical about it. Don't pay for it. Don't encourage the behavior with financial gain. And 2, you have to realize that even still, some of these sites are making money just from your attention. So do your best to not give that money in the form of your time and attention to these sites. If you want this stuff to stop, if you want there to be less women doing this kind of stuff, the only way for men to affect that is to stop giving it money and stop giving it time and attention. And I know it's difficult, but it is something that has to be done.
Yep, and that's one thing a lot of these women are seeing, that they see opportunity and they can make a lot of free money for doing something that's, what's even a term I could use for this? Fun, quote unquote. They're gonna do it.
Easy. Simple.
Straightforward, giga easy, lets them have fun and have a lot of free money.
Fun is subjective, and I'm not sure all of them are having fun doing it, but it's obviously more fun than being in an office or on a construction site or at McDonald's or something like that. And it's also obviously way more simple and easy than all that stuff if you're, I guess, just starting out. I don't think it's as simple and easy if you're a big timer, but also you could still make it simple and easy by just hiring people to handle the financial and tax stuff for you. But when you're kind of small time too, obviously it's not as big a deal. So simple, easy, and I wouldn't call it fun necessarily unless they're nymphos or something like that. But not necessarily fun, but more fun than an office job or a construction job or plumbing or whatever, unless they can find an office job at a Facebook or a Google or something like that, and then they can just be in adult daycare all day and have free food and video games and whatever else they want to do all the time.
Bro, I saw those videos and it was wild.
That would be I think that's the one thing for modern women that is above the OF as far as an easy job.
And ladies, come on, don't y'all want some level of challenge in life to make it more fulfilling?
No.
Or are y'all just that unable to do shit?
No, they don't. Most of them do not want that. And I will speak for the Duchess here, as she's told me many times. She doesn't want to work. She wants to be stay-at-home housewife, and she really enjoys that. But she doesn't expect it to be she just gets to sit on the couch and eat bonbons all day. Obviously, she still has work, but the work at the home, which I think a lot more women don't realize because they've been sold this lie that, oh, being in the workplace is fulfilling and stuff like that, when even most guys are like, no, we go to work because, yes, there is a part of fulfillment for a man because they want to provide and build things, obviously. But most men who go to work are like, I'm going to work because I want to provide for a family and make a paycheck. If I could be at home all day with the kids, playing with the kids, teaching them how to do cool stuff and stuff like that, most men would say, yeah, I would rather do that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You kidding?
So I think to the Duchess's wisdom, she is correct. And I think for the majority of women, I'm not going to say all of them, but the majority of women would most likely be much happier if they were just doing the house tasks, even though they say that it's demeaning and not fulfilling and stuff like that. So
It's anti-woman, it's anti-lady, it's anti-feminist. Really know how come so many of y'all turn tail real quick when the opportunity comes up,
yeah, and also Mr. Dutch, or Mr. J, Mr. J, how's it going? He just popped in here. So yeah, that's it. I think they've been sold a lie, most women, in that I don't think that it's completely impossible for women to work and enjoy it. I think there are certain jobs that women do enjoy and that women are possibly better at than men. But for the vast majority of women, I would say that I think they've been sold a lie, and most of them would probably be happier if it went back to the one family, one job household where the women could be at home, taking care of the home, taking care of kids, taking care of animals, all that kind of stuff. And the dude was the one just going out and facing the horrors of the work world and and the soul crushing deadness of being in a workplace, whether that be an office or on a construction site, plumbing, being in literal sewers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that's where, like, this is where I've been having conversations with people of, like, women need to be, to some degree, the emotional support for men in their relationship. Obviously, men are gonna want to prefer their friend groups 9 times out of 10 for most things, but when they get home, guess who they're gonna focus on the most? The wifey, or if you're gay, the husband. And they're gonna be in your arms 24/7, whenever they can, be annoyingly cuddly, being cute, and just want some decompression time with the loved one. It's not that deep. Men are simple creatures in that regard.
True, can confirm that. And that's what, when I brought it up, that's why with my schedule, it's like, it sucks so much when it's like the only time I have really during the week. On the weekends I get a little bit more, obviously, and that's just how it's been for, not for me, but I mean for like generations of people. That's kind of how it's been with the whole work thing. And I would say I don't want to complain because obviously I'm provided for. I'm not rich by any means, but I'm more than comfortable. But it's obviously people had it much worse in the past, and there's still people in this world that have it much worse now. Like when kids were working in coal mines and people were getting like horrible diseases in steel mills and shit like that. But still, it's like the feeling of being like, the only time I get with the Duchess really to commune and be in our relationship with each other during the week is at dinner for like an hour maybe. And then maybe if we're really lucky, we get another hour after that where we can sit on the couch and just decompress. And because of the 2-earner household, it's made that a lot more difficult. Whereas when it was just a 1-earner, the man could come home, you get to sit down and eat dinner, the house is all clean, you don't have to worry about any extra stuff on top of the work you already did outside of the home when you get home, for the most part, right?
Yep.
Okay, so with that, I really appreciate I'm not ending this, by the way, I'm just ending this segment, but I appreciate this tweet. I wanted to go through it because it was thought-provoking. I thought I agreed with a lot of it. I thought there was some stuff where I was like, oh, I can add some good input to this. Before we get off of this subject, let me read chat a little bit and see if we have any insights over here from the Deke. I've seen some good-looking women, and then I got to know them only to lament how horrible they were in the personality department. Damn shame. Agree.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have met many a women and known many a women who have had the same things. Oh, I shit you not. women will do all sorts of shit to try to land themselves a good man if they think they can get it despite them having one hell of a horrible personality.
Yeah, I've known plenty of women who were in a higher number, and then they turn out to be until they turn out to be a lower number on the inside, and you go, okay, no, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
Yep. Yeah, men, do yourselves a favor. Get to the next hill over from that monster, I beg of you.
Also from the Deke about porn, stop paying for it with your very soul. Yes, that is what I'm saying, is that, yes, a lot of it is the money issue. If women weren't getting as much money as they were getting off of it, I don't think we'd see as much of a meteoric rise with it. But it is also the time, the attention, and like you said, paying for it with your soul, that it does add to it as well.
Well, another thing too is that these men are just lonely, and there have been videos reacted by various channels that I watch who have reacted to OF models literally getting like $7 donations, $5 donations, a $2 donation of saying, hey, hope you have a nice day, hope you had a nice work, hope you're feeling good, love you to bits, and hope your day goes well. Men just want to feel loved. Men just want to feel some level of connection. And the fact that they have to go to these OF models in the first place instead of trying to find a girl, because their situations are not so great to where most women are not even going to bother looking at them, it is sad. It's really fucking sad.
I agree completely, and that's what we're trying to. And you're in the Discord server. I know you don't come in very often because we're not talking about stuff that you're usually into, but that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do there. That's what I'm trying to build there, is a place for men so that they can learn about this stuff and get help with this stuff and have a support group with this stuff. It's because a lot of men are just out there on their own, or they get told, like, if they try to talk about this stuff, they're like, just man up and get over it kind of thing. I'm trying to make a space where you get the man up and get over it thing, but we also tell you, but we're here to help you with that.
Like, it's one thing to go, okay, you're being too much of a baby, just man up, because in some situations, there are some men that are just being overly emotional. It's just like, you need to grow up here and just man the fuck up, dude. But if it's like actual situations where it's too much for the dude, and where he just needs to just completely disconnect and such, yes, that's where he needs help. Because if it's bad financial situation, if he's trying his damnedest to get into a better situation, or he just can't find women in his general area because same issues that we have been mentioning here, or that they all have OFs, and you know, most normal people don't want to share the person that they're dating. Now, this comes into question. Whether or not they're okay with the person doing that kind of work should be their business at the end of the day, but that person should be trying their damnedest to exclude the parasocial relationship, like what we're seeing in the VTubing scene.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, let me see if there's anything else that I want to take away here. From Alex, yeah, you work a full day and have to come home to a bunch of tasks to do at home. No yeah, exactly. That's, and yeah. We've gotten along with it, at least me and the Duchess, because there is still tasks to be done when we get home, and it is something that is a stressor for us, but it doesn't affect our relationship, thankfully. And it's something where we're like, it takes a lot of, for us, it takes a lot of prayer, talking to God to get through it, as well as us talking together and be like, look, we understand that we have a lot to do, but it'll get done when it gets done. And there's plenty of times where we just are like, we need to, for our own mental health, we need to just sit down, take a break, and be with each other, basically.
Yeah, and that's important, because that's something you and few others in this chat also know, but most have not come to that realization, or, you know, the good one got away, essentially, in type of situation where you just need to sit, be in each other's presence, maybe cuddle a little, and just decompress, talk, and be adults. Because no one is having adult conversations anymore with the person that they're dating. Because, yes, this is what it means to be an adult. Everything's not gonna be sunshine and rainbows. There are gonna be tough moments. But if you're constantly communicating and talking, you will get through it.
Yep, exactly. Well, we're reading chat here right now for the most part. I'll just put that up on screen. Let's see here. Yeet 420 Penguin. I don't think we said hi to you. Good to see you. How's it going?
Oh, hi.
Thank you for coming in. Women working at home reap 100% of the benefits, unlike working in an office where the company receives most of the Yes, and I haven't said it in videos, but I've said it to people in person and in chats where it's that what women don't realize is that when you go to work, for the lie that they've been sold going to work and that being the ultimate, that being like, oh, you go to college and you get a good job, which works for men because men are different and men are looked at to be providers of the household. It's different for men, but for women, the issue that comes up there is for when they were in the home more, their boss was their husband who loved them, and the benefit was for the household, the husband, and the wife. Like, it was for the benefit of the whole household, what they were doing. And a lot of women and feminists have come to say that, oh, you weren't getting any money, any real money for that, so it wasn't worth anything. And I'm not going to say it never happened, but I think it happened far less than what the media portrays it as, where husbands were in like the 50s and 60s were just treating their women bad, just being like, oh, you're basically a slave that works at home. I don't think with the majority of men were treating their women that way back then. I think the media over exaggerated that. And
They definitely did.
A lot of women, when they were in the home, it was much more fulfilling because you got to figure you're holding down the whole household. A lot of them were making budgets. I can say, even from my grandma perspective, she was making the money go further by clipping coupons. She was going to get the food at the store. She was making fresh food every day, which is healthier for everybody in the household. She was walking the dogs, taking care of the dogs, loving the dogs. She would find dogs like a stray dog in a bush, and that would be the new dog for the household. She was taking care of like 8 kids, right? Like, and dealing with all that. You don't have necessarily as much money, but it's a much more structured, healthy lifestyle. And she wasn't any less valuable than my grandpa. They were just valuable in different ways. And the current world has sold women a lie that you're not valuable unless you're doing the same thing as men are doing or better than what men are doing.
Very much.
Okay, so moving on, we did have a second subject here just in case we got to here, because we are 2.5 hours in. I do want to finish up on a good note, but we will go to the other big issue we were going to talk about, which was these pride things. And as far as let me bring up why we're going to talk about them, because this being a show that I'm trying to aim at, obviously Friday Night Flame War, the name kind of implies that there's going to be heated discussion being had. But ultimately, my whole main channel, away from my gaming channel, if you guys are interested, it's the Doom Troopers. I'm hoping to get it back up soon. I have the computers. I just have to set everything up. But that's where I do all my fun stuff. If you guys want to go over there and see that, that's where I do this. What I do here is the serious stuff, even on this podcast, where it's trying to talk to men and help men and get them to better places. And so in this case, with the pride thing, it is important for the guys to know what's going on around there in this world, to defend against it, to have good conversations about it. You can't fight something if you don't know anything about it, right? So it's important to have that information. I think also from you, Tylen, getting the perspective of someone who's gay, who I think you've even said you don't even really want to be associated with the LGBT community because of all the stuff that's going on. You're just like, I'm just a gay dude. that's
Okay,
why I want to get
so-
your perspective on it.
Yeah, so basically, what's been going on is that the whole TQ plus aspect of the whole bullshit mafia has been running fucking rampant to the point where minor attracted people from activists have actually been quote unquote accepted. Obviously, there are a few outliers. Majority of reasonable people are gonna call this out and go, no, get the fuck out. You're a child toucher, and we don't want that title anywhere around us. The fucking irony is that they claim that. And there was a dude who was actually booed out of a trans pride parade. For those that don't know, trans pride parade is mainly focused around the transgender aspect, excluding everything else. The irony, right? So, there was this individual over in the UK specifically. I don't know if it was here in the States or not, but basically, this person had made it over in the UK more difficult to prosecute someone if they're 10 years of range of the victim. So let's say if someone's like 11 or 12, if the person is 21 to 22, depending on the age of the victim, they would not be prosecuted and therefore would not be added to the sex registry list.
Yep, and California has been doing its best to try and add to that as well. I think Scott Wiener, ironic name, was the one who passed some of those laws to, because before California had a law where I think it was if you got a girl pregnant when she was, I think, if you were of like, if the man was of an adult age and the girl was like, I think between 14 and 17, they had a law that changed it from that could change it with, I think, parents' permission and understanding of the girl, that they would change the person's conviction from a felony to a misdemeanor, and I don't think they had to go on the sex offenders registry. The whole logic behind that was that they didn't want to affect if the girl was going to keep the baby, obviously they didn't want to affect the baby because of the father's stuff, what he did, and also to make the father so that he could pay for the baby and stuff like that. But what Scott Wiener did was also extend that to boys, but that doesn't make any sense because boys can't have babies. So there's no real other way to look at that except for lowering it to a misdemeanor for a guy having stuff with a young boy, right? I'm not saying even the first one was a good law, but I'm saying the second one makes literally there's no even possible way you work that into a good situation, right?
Oh god, okay. Oh no, okay. So, depending on what other things was included in this law, depending from what I know, I could be wrong here, so please chat, do correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly, due to them changing stuff like pregnant women being changed into pregnant people or
Birthing
womb
persons.
carrier, is that too. And considering that they also go with the notion that trans women are women, and for whatever fucking reason over in the UK recently, I don't know if it started here in the States or if its own nightmarish hell over in the UK, but they started arguing that trans women can get pregnant. As much as that sounds fucking stupid. And if that logic applies to this bill in this regard, and if that child becomes transgender or claims to be while still being a minor, then the rules could apply.
I didn't even think about that. And I do want to make it clear. Allegedly, this law, I don't want to go searching for it to prove myself. So I'm just going to say, I think it is what I've been told, but I have no way of proving it. So it has to be an allegedly. But moving on to what we have here today. First off, I want to say hello to Star Rider / Ram. Good to see you here, bud. And I think we had one other person. No, that's okay. Star Rider came in. Good to see you, dude. Glad to have you here. So what we have here on screen for you, Tylen, we're just talking about covering the whole. So last month was Men's Mental Health Month. Obviously, was what a lot more of the guys on Twitter that we're in talks with, that we keep up with, they were doing the Men's Mental Health Month. But it was and still is Pride Month for a lot of people. So that's why we're discussing this. One of the things that came up from Libs of TikTok, say what you want about that page, but they put out some stuff that's obviously not so great in regards of putting out information. Like you said, with the whole Andy No thing, he's another guy who does that kind of stuff. Here's one where it says, breaking Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey repeals ban on adult bathhouses and sex venues in honor of Pride Month. And if you don't know, just to give context to that, part of the reason it was closed down, from what I remember, allegedly, so I don't speak out of turn, allegedly, part of the reason it was closed down was because of the spread of STDs in these bathhouses and such, similar to like a YMCA type situation.
The irony is supposed to concern effect somewhere in the UK or somewhere in the East, not as far as like India, China, but more so around the United Kingdoms and such. Or was it somewhere in Scotland? I forgot. But basically, there was this bacteria that led to an STD that happened within a bathhouse where 40 gay men all caught it, and this specific bacteria STD could only come from boinking horses that needed high humidity for it to thrive. So guess what happened?
Yep, high humidity, moisture, hot, right? Hot tubs, whatever.
And skin-to-skin contact.
Yeah.
Why is it always the gays? It's not
Says the gay man.
gays. I need to say this to prevent the YouTube gods from going feral on my ass. But whenever it comes to the gays, it's always something.
It is funny because I know we've had our discussions where you're like, no, you have said flat out what your ultimate thing is you want a one person relationship. You want just one guy kind of. Yeah. So I understand you have a, what I would call an unpopular opinion of what the rest of the community thinks about, I think.
Yes, okay, so one thing I need to make mention is that every single hypersexual stereotype you think within the LGBTQIA, whatever the fuck it is this week, is true to the very core foundation. Supposedly, back when it was just LGB, it wasn't like this. And it was more reasonable, more standard, and more societal. Obviously, people would say, oh, that's a little queer, that's a little odd. But now it's being used as a term of reclaiming for whatever reason. And every single fucking time they call themselves queer, they're the most hypersexual, the most depraved, and the most degenerate bastards you could ever think of. And it's not just one thing. Every single thing you see in these posts, every single time that's mentioned about Pride Month, they always label themselves they, them, queer, trans-masculine, trans-feminine, or whatever the fuck they feel like for the day.
Yeah, and Batder brought up, he said, this isn't an unpopular opinion around the gay people he grew up around, and I would say to Batder that the gay people you grew up around were probably the types who still were like, if it was a dude, they were still like generally dudes. They might be a little bit effeminate or whatever, but they were generally dudes, and they were just like, I'm just a gay guy. It's just like how cross-dressers used to just be like, oh yeah, I just like wearing women's clothes, and now they're either trans or they have to be drag queens, like it's one or the other thing. Back in the day, they would just be like, oh yeah, I just like wearing women's clothes, man.
Or transvestite, but now that's That's offensive.
Taboo,
nowadays.
yes. Yeah. So, yeah, gay guys back in the day, there was a lot more gay guys back in the day who were just like, they were just normal guys, but they were just gay. And this, obviously, religious reasons and stuff like that, I have my own opinions, but I will say, though, still, it's a lot easier to talk to and come to understandings or agree to disagrees with people who, with gay dudes who are like that, where you're just like, oh, okay, yeah. So you're just like, you can still walk away from it and be like how you and I are, Tylen, where it's like, oh yeah, when we're not talking about this stuff, we can just be chill and just play games and have fun and stuff. Yeah. It's just a dude.
One thing I do need to make mention here, as this is still an unknown thing, as I have talked to various people and they still don't know about this, but anyone here know the name Jeffree Star?
Yes.
He is relevant.
I mean, I'm in the, just so you know, I do know him fairly well because I'm from the, me and DJ share this. We're from the 2010s, like metalcore scene, and he was always at the Warp Tours and stuff like that. So I have a general understanding of the person who is Jeffree Star.
Good. This is relevant, and chances are DJ already knows what I'm talking about, and you probably have a clue but don't know the full context. So, this is a specific group of people that I like to mention called straight predators. They're a specific subgroup within the gay community where they will specifically go after straight dudes in particular because they find the sexual thrill of it to potentially make them sexually gay or fully gay or sexually bisexual, where the dude still has an interest in women but finds having sex with dudes to be on the fun side every now and a while. Obviously, that's not a normal, that's pretty fucking weird, and these kinds of people are usually really obsessive, really annoying, and they will actively try to date the said person.
Are you bringing up that one makeup dude, that what's it, that Hey Sister dude?
Yep. No. That's a different person. Unfortunately, he's just a straight up creep.
Well, I meant he had, and I'm going to say allegations because I don't remember if they were ever proven, but he had allegations leveled against him that he was creeping on straight guys, and he had said some things on some videos at times that were alluding to him being wanting to flip straight guys, basically.
Oh yeah, no, in that case, if those allegations are in videos, yeah, chances are he was. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Okay, this is a very specific
Allegedly.
thing I also need to make. Yeah, so there's a specific reason why this group even exists. It's mostly because straight dudes are usually more calm, not as combative, not catty, and everything of the sort. Basically, they want all the benefits of a straight dude, but happen to be gay. But they can't find any gay dudes who are straight acting, so they have to go to straight guys and try converting them into gay for them to get the straight guy situation.
Well, that's the same as seemingly, I should say, a lot of the trans community who are like, dating trans dudes or dating trans women isn't gay, and they try and tell straight dudes that, or they try and just they will do stuff like go onto dating apps and then get on a date with a straight dude with having given the straight dude the idea that they are a biological woman, right? And it seems to be the same thing as to what you're saying, because they want to be treated as a woman so they can be, like you said, catty, whatever, all this stuff that you were bringing up, but they want the balance to that in a calm, as you said, straight acting guy. So
Yeah, so this is where I also need to make mention of another thing. Autogynephiliacs. That's a specific kind of group in the quote-unquote transgender community where they claim to be trans and such, and I actually got a really good example. Lily Pino.
that one yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the example of an autogynephiliac. They claim to be transgender. They claim to do all this and that, but they still behave and act like a dude instead of a woman. A clear example of what an actual transgender individual is
from a female to male is Buck Angel. And I mean, he is an old gangster transgender here. Okay, this dude has been trans for like 30 plus years or 40, and he had to go through all the hoops.
I've never heard of transgender OG.
Unfortunately, I have to put it in that regard, because if I were to lump him in with the rest of these degenerates, I'm not gonna give them the praise of being humans, because that's what they are. It's fucking degenerates. Then people would mistake him for a biological dude.
Got it. So that's why we're moving on with this. But yeah, like you said, this. So the whole reason this whole thing that we're seeing on screen, it's coming back. I guess I don't know, because they want to be nice to the community, obviously. But the whole reason it was taken out in the first place was to keep people from getting STDs. So just so you know, don't be surprised, Minneapolis, Minnesota, when you possibly see a rise in STDs.
Well, chances are we're already seeing it. It's already known that the gay community does not like using protection, and they are very much part of the hookup / open relationship culture. That's one thing I need to make mention of this, and why I mentioned it on my post of hookup culture, because that is the standard within LGBTQIA blah 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 community. And that it's such a nasty thing that it hit mainstream media the way it did, because we are now seeing the ramifications of what was the standard of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yep. And we also have over here from Katie Davies Scout. I don't know. This is from Seattle. So as you guys may know, it's a lot of the West. I mean, I'm not going to deny that East Coast cities also have this kind of stuff, but it does seem to be the most prevalent in the West Coast cities. Europe too, but a lot of West Coast stuff. And I'm California, so I can speak on that. I will bring up that Star Writer gave me the name of the person, James Charles. Yes, like you said. He said some other things, and they're allegedly, so I won't say them because of YouTube.
Yeah.
So Seattle Public Schools marches in the 2026 Pride Parade. Enrollment is currently at a significant low for the public schools in Seattle. I wonder why. And
why are
also
there kids in this?
Exactly. That's the biggest thing, right? No matter me and you coming to an understanding, me having the opinion of this should be totally done away with, but even if I roll it back a little bit and be like compromise, right? If I was to compromise at all, it would be, why the heck are there kids involved in this? That's the first thing that needs to be handled here.
This is the problem I have, is that, like, first of all, we're talking about sexuality. So at the very least, this would be reserved for sex ed classes, because, surprise, being gay means that you're interested in the same sex, but ultimately, you're also trying to have sex with the same sex. So therefore, this would have to be reserved in sex ed class at the very oldest, 10th to 11th grade, because that's where most kids or teens are going to fucking experiment with each other, because they're trying to figure themselves out in the most awkward time possible. But if you're going younger, like what these people have been doing, well, that's where you're trying to alienate these kids and essentially turn them into fucking piggy banks for the medical industry.
Yeah, and I mean, I would even say with the whole puberty, the kids experimenting, whatever, it's also, I don't think, and I've heard this from activists before, that they claim parents raising their kids as straight or teaching them a straight way is just as propaganda, or is the actual propaganda, versus gay, trans, all this other LGBT ideology being taught to kids. But that's my other thing with teaching it even to teens, or telling teens about it at all, is just that then you're influencing them to be like, oh, now I can go experiment with this stuff. Whereas a lot of them, I would say, would most likely just be straight without any intervention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's the problem. If they're gay, they're gonna know if they're gay or not. But 9 times out of 10, they know that they like the opposite sex. So even if they were to even if they try to quote unquote experiment, they're not gonna like it anyways. So what's the difference?
And even still, this is obviously adult activity. So it's like, especially you see this kid right here on the screen right there, like, dude, that's like a 6-year-old. Like, they don't know anything about this. They don't need to know anything about this. They should be at home play.
That was more like a fucking 4-year-old, considering they had to be picked up and how small they are. Like, oh my god, why are literal babies here?
Yeah. Yep, and that leads us, that actually is a good thing to go into. I think this is the next one, and I hope YouTube doesn't strike me for this. I hope there's enough enough censoring on this one. I'll be quick about it, but for you guys, just to give quick context, and then I'll go back to the other one.
There is censorship on this, but you can tell the outlines. Oh,
the naked bike riders also at the, I believe this is also, yes, Seattle Pride. So, and they are riding, as you'll see in just a second, right in front of little babies with their, you know, Frankenbeans out, the clam.
This is exhibitionism at its finest here. Why the fuck are degenerates out here? And you might want to show the Andy No post because,
Let me see if I could find that really quick. I'll have to take this off the screen just in case there's any other posts I don't want to. Oh, yeah. If you want to throw that up in the chat, that would be great.
There you go.
Let me get that for you guys. Give me just a second. There it is. Okay, thank you very much.
So, and I've covered this on my stream, but I'll read it on chat here.
Yeah, give us the summary.
On my screen. Bellingham Wash, leftist who is the founder of the local chapter of the Naked Bike Ride, has bailed out after being released and charged with child sex crimes. Zachary Elijah Robertson, a former coordinator with Food Not Bombs, allegedly had dozens of files of explicit images of young children on his laptop. He was caught after allegedly looking at the images while handling the snake. I'm not gonna say it for obvious reasons. The Naked Bike Ride features heavily at Pride events where people bring children to ride along with them. Those who raise safeguarding concerns have also been called transphobic and queerphobic. Oh, piss off. And keep in mind, this post is back from April 1st, and this is not a joke, because these kinds of stories are usually pretty consistent. Robertson authored and drew a child's book called Norma Normal, about a young girl who doesn't wear clothes. He is also a founder of the Cascadia Community Land Trust. Robertson told Bellingham police that the images were research material for his 2020 book. He bailed out on March 11th after paying $2,500 in cash. He's been removing his social media since, and there was a recent update back in June about this, by the way. So, there's a reason why a lot of these Pride events are getting funding pulled. Oh geez, I can't imagine fucking why.
It seems to just be happening every time. It's like a leader. I think there was also another one, again, allegedly, who was a recent, I think they were in some form of government, a trans person, recently that got caught with, obviously, you know what I'm going to say. I don't even have to say it. Got caught with the stuff on their computer. And this person was
Why is it every single fucking time?
That's what I'm saying. That's it. And they were in government and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, it seems like it's always, it seems it is almost always, I'm not going to say always, almost always the case that it happens every time. And you're like, it's the Doofenshmirtz saying where it's like, man, if I had a nickel for every time this happened, well, actually now I would have
nickels, which is oddly that it happened enough times for me to have 2 nickels.
But now it's like, oh damn, I would have like at least $100, if not more, in nickels.
Spider Bro, my eyes. Oh, believe me, Spider, half the shit I see, you wish you'd be drinking eye bleach.
And that's why I took it off, and we can just go back to this. But yeah, I don't understand what, like, if I was to deconstruct this even away from my obvious bias, I will give it that, my obvious bias because of my religion, because of my God, of not wanting the pride stuff at all, even if I was to deconstruct it just from the lower level as a decent, if it was just being a quote unquote decent human being in society, it's why are kids here? Why are there naked people in the streets when we have laws against, like, indecency laws? You know what I mean? Like, there's other questions here other than just my religion that go into this, where you're like, what is going on here? Why is this happening?
I mean, that's a magical fucking question I wish I knew, but unfortunately I don't, because people just want to be fucking pigs.
Also, you brought up, you said they already got, so again, this is something that gets, that we've talked about a little bit, and I think it's brought up a lot, which is that what rights do these people not have that, or what rights do everybody else have that these people don't have, where they need to keep doing this at this point?
So here's the fundamental problem. The only rights that I can realistically think of from a critical mindset is medical rights. Because the whole original reason why they wanted gay marriage in the first place was because of situations like what happens if you two, me and someone else, another dude was dating, and we weren't able to get married. Well, the default would follow to his living relatives that were in the city, such as his parents or siblings. And I'm gonna be real, if the parents didn't like their kid, guess what they're gonna do? If given the opportunity. They're probably gonna try offing the bastard off on life support and such, regardless of how much input you say, because the medical reasons, you're not actual relationship to the person.
Got it.
That's why the gay
Got it.
marriage was needed.
Well, but I'm saying, like, now though, like, I know what they say it is. I know they're like, no, they want the medical rights of, you know, being transitioned so that YouTube doesn't get me. But
Okay.
they want those medical rights, but it's like, from what I understand, they still have those rights. It's just that the taxpayer isn't paying for them anymore.
Yes, okay, so basically what's going on with that is that, one, a lot of this shit, and hence why Trump also put a ban on trans military personnel, was because a lot of transgender individuals were going into the military not to serve for the nation, but to get the free transitions.
Yeah.
Because it was all getting paid for by tax dollars. And they could also use stuff like US aid or various other things here in the States for them to pay off their medical transitionings. But here's another big problem that I make mention on what I would argue that they desperately need. And this is not so much here from the States from itself. I need to make mention of this. This is entirely within the medical field itself. So, you know how all these botched surgeries usually tend to go? No doctor's ever held accountable, and no matter what they do, the damage is already done. And look at how many detransition surgeries that are currently existing amongst the United States at the moment on Reddit. So, if we had actual medical rights for transgender individuals for particular reasons, then we would be able to hold these doctors accountable, along with all the therapists, transitioners, and all this and that was forcing all these surgeries onto these kids, because they were just ramming these kids through all medical systems to turn them into patients for the rest of their lives until they die.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
and all of them are getting paid in some way or form on that. It's the same. It's similar to the SSRI thing, where it's like, where not therapists, but the other one that's allowed to give you a medical diagnosis for drugs is there. It's like, they just immediately almost always will be like, okay, well, we're just going to try all these different drugs and see which ones work. And if it doesn't work, we're just going to keep trying different drugs until one of them works.
yeah, and unfortunately, well, the US on how they handle things is handling the core root of the problem, which, yes, is the thing you should be doing. In the meantime, you're going to be dealing with a lot of horrible symptoms and such. which is what we're currently dealing with, is a bunch of horrible symptoms from a very corrupt system that's been overtaken by activists. I need to make this in reference. I'm not talking about the people who happen to be transgender with an actual medical condition like gender dysphoria, who is trying to get their condition resolved through cosmetic surgeries for them to function normally. No, I am talking about the activists that scream there and say, oh, we just need to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
And the eggs are human lives, obviously.
No, it's the kitties.
Yeah.
It's way more devious than you think.
Yeah. With that, I appreciate that opinion. Let me try and find something to end on that's going to be a good positive. We always like to try and end on a positive here. Maybe we go into, did I save any positives? Let's see here. Oh yeah, I guess I could talk about that briefly. Maybe no. Let's keep going here. There's that. That's not positive. This might be. Let's see here. New class action lawsuit accuses Samsung, Micron, and SK Hynix of working together to restrict RAM supply prices, raise prices, and prioritize AI memory production. So, positive in the way that these these companies are getting sued for artificially raising the prices of all our computer parts.
Yep. And like, this is the thing. This is where I'm actually a huge proponent to the AI bro tech, where like people like you, me, DJ, Spider, all of us in this stream chat, we all use AI casually because we're using it as an asset creation to help us out during our streaming careers, because we actually want to have some level of progression within our own careers. But these people's entire motive is to fuck people over as much as possible, make gaming harder to get into, cause other problems amongst all industries. I mean, look at the Steam machine, for example. We're having issues just trying to get the damn thing going. And earlier today, there was a report of the red line of death. Yes, for those that are not in the know, the Xbox 360 Ring of Death is back.
For which, for the newest one or what? For like the Xbox One? I don't know I don't play on consoles.
Okay, so basically what that means is that the Xbox 360 Ring of Death basically mentioned that the motherboard or some internal hardware that the user could not fix in any way, shape, or form, they had to bring it to either a GameStop or send it to Xbox themselves to get a full manufacturer repair or a whole replacement because the motherboard is fucking fried. That's what's happening with this user in the Steam Cube. Their Steam Cube is fried at the motherboard level. Basically, the whole thing cannot be fixed by users. They have to send it back to Steam to get it fixed.
For the GameCube is, I thought the GameCube wasn't out yet. It's out already?
Nope, it's already out, and it's already available from mass purchases. Japan already devoured the living fuck out of it.
But you're saying, so it is having, similar to like 360s where the motherboard will just fry and you can't fix. So I would assume though, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, because Steam, Gabe Newell, Valve, they're pretty good with their products. Are you able to like send it back and get it fixed from the company or get a new one from the company pretty easily?
You can send it in for repairs within the warranty, yes.
So at least there's that. At least it's getting covered. But yeah, for what was it? It's a $1,200 to $1,500 PC, right?
1,100 if you're wanting the base 512 gigabyte memory, or up to 1,400 to 1,500 if you want the 2 terabyte memory along with the RAM and also the Steam controller.
Yeah. So I mean, at least they're getting it covered, but I don't think it would be nearly this bad if, again, the artificial price raises. Like, again, I was talking to Nianis about this earlier, and I do want to mention I was supposed to at the beginning during housekeeping, but I will right now, since I've remembered it and it's on topic. Guys, please send your prayers and good wishes out to Nianis. She's up visiting Papa Yanis right now, and obviously you guys know about what happened to her earlier this week. If you don't, Tylen, I'll tell you later. I don't want to say it here without giving permission to. I know she posted it online openly, but I would like to respect her in that respect. But still, prayers and good wishes. She should be back next week, hopefully. So.
Well, I hope it's not anything serious, and I hope her father will make a full recovery.
It does seem to be one thing after the other, but we are just not just with her dad, but with some other stuff. But I'll update you in the DMs. But yeah, it's just
Okay.
You guys keep your prayers, good wishes, and any positive comments or DMs to her would be appreciated, I'm sure. I always try to do my best to shout her out as one of the only chicks online that I talk to, because she has a husband. She brings up that she has a husband. I'm connected to both of them. I wouldn't even say I'm friends with both of them necessarily, but I have like a professional relationship with them. And I can't deny it that watching her streams pushed me into streaming. So it's I always want to support her as best as I can. As far as going back to the Gabe Cumin, I was going to say, I was talking to Yanis about this. That's why I brought it up, was that that I'm hoping that if computer part prices do go down after something like this, the lawsuit right here, if computer parts do start to go down in price and we get a better influx of parts back in, that I hope the Steam Cube, the Gabe Cube, whatever, also follows that in price and going down, and they don't just stick with it, because Steam and Valve have seemingly been pretty good about wanting the best for their customers as far as price and performance and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, that's my hope, but we know for a fact places like PlayStation and Microsoft are never going to lower the prices, especially with these prices. But in the case of GameCube, and considering how much they make, I believe, especially considering they're already working at a loss with these prices. Yeah, they could be way higher than what they originally are right now, and they are functioning at a loss. But I think this is also to push the industry in a positive direction for all video game nerds, because Windows has started making changes to its BIOS system to where it's not having to consistently update every single little thing, and they are trying to get more bloatware out due to the Steam Cube.
yeah, and I think also that it's like they might be losing money on the hardware, but I think they know they're going to make money on the software, as far as like, because of the extensive library of Steam and games that people couldn't get on. Like, that is one thing you could say about Steam that they've done a lot better too than Sony or Microsoft, where they were getting, accusations of a monopoly for a minute there, which is that they just have such a bigger library of games, including Sony and Xbox games on their site, that it's like, yeah, you are paying a $1,000 to $1,500 for this GameCube, but you get access to all these games. And I think that's where they're going to make the loss back, is when people come over from consoles who couldn't get access to some of these games, or to a lot of these games, who then start playing all these games that they didn't have access to, and then also go, oh shit, I can also play, let's say a Sony fan, he gets a GameCube, he's like, oh, now I can play, not only can I play a lot of Sony games on this computer, as well as on my PlayStation with whatever Sony games that are exclusive or never ported over or whatever, but I can also play the Steam games, the indie games that are only on Steam, because that's all indie developers can make it on for the right price. And on top of that, Microsoft, Windows, Xbox has all their stuff that I can get on this computer too. So I think that's where the GameCube is really going to make its money back, even if they're operating at a loss.
And that's kind of the big thing too, is that the Steam controller actually has mouse capability, and you can actually use the giant trackpad as a mouse, which you cannot do with any other controller. You need an application open, hence why trackpads are designed the way they are.
which is actually really fucking cool. And apparently it's actually forcing Xbox to add mouse-like functionality to the Xbox controllers for you to use it like a frickin' mouse.
Yeah, I fully agree with you too on the thing you said before, where it's like this is forcing the whole game industry, and say it's a monopoly, whatever. If anybody was gonna have one, I would say honestly, Steam, Valve, Gabe Newell is the one that I want having it, because, well, until he has to inevitably retire, unfortunately, but for the time
or he
being,
doesn't and he dies.
yeah, for the time being though, they are who is driving the gaming community, I feel like, or the game industry in the correct directions, as opposed to the other game developers or the big game system companies.
Yep.
With that, I did find one more cool thing, nice thing, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. Nope, not that. We don't need that anymore. That can get out of here. This is from Gigabase Dad. I think I have a couple of these on here. It's: you will eat the steaks, you will drive your gas guzzler, you will heat your home, you will use cash notes, you will travel at your leisure, you will disobey the globalists. This is positive to me in that, because of what we're trying to tell the guys here, I want all the best for you guys. We are going to have to stand up to it and do stuff like this. You guys deserve it. Eat the meat. Don't eat the slop, man. Don't eat the soy milk and stuff like that. Go get your old car that doesn't have a computer in it so that you can fix it yourself if you want to. I want you to not only be able to heat your home, I want you to be able to own a home, and I really hope that all the boys are able to do that at some point. Cash notes, honestly, if credit cards and Apple Pay and all that stuff went away today, I would be totally fine with that. I've operated in Japan before with the cash system. Yeah, it's kind of annoying to have to carry around a coin, like your coins and stuff like that, but it means your money is your money. Like, you're not going to have any issues with that. You will travel at your leisure, as long as it's, how would you say it? As long as it's tourism. I don't believe in
tourism within reason. Like,
yeah. I don't.
Visa.
I don't agree with unlimited. Everybody can go wherever they want. But if you're going just for a vacation for like a couple weeks or a month or whatever, yes, I agree. You travel where you want. I will suggest highly, and if I ever saw you in a place acting rudely, I would highly suggest, if you're going to go to a different country, to look up customs and politeness in that country before you go, because when I've been in Japan, I've seen many people who treat it like a amusement park. Like, all the Japanese people who, you know, live there, who it's their native country, they treat it like the Japanese people are just workers at an amusement park, and these people are there on their vacation, and the Japanese people are there to pander to them, which is not the case. I don't know.
That's so rude.
Yes. Yeah. And lastly, you will disobey the globalist. I definitely agree with that. You go ahead, Tylen.
Fuck the global homo bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what we're ending on tonight, guys. I want to thank you, Tylen. Thank you for coming in, speaking with me. It's been great. I know we've been talking about it for a little while when I've come into your chats and stuff like that, that we really wanted to get some discussion time in, because we're both very opinionated people and we can bounce off each other.
Exactly. And thanks for having me on too. If you ever want to do more, always feel free to hit me up and let me know, and we can always cause more problems.
Of course. Let me also go ahead and go back and get, you know what? In fact, let me open up a different page and go to Kick, and I will link your Kick. Give me just a second. Let me find you. Let me find you on here. Oh my gosh. Loud, going down.
Oh my god, Kick, why must you be this way?
All right. It was on DSP for some reason.
Oh god.
Live, no. I just want to see the people I'm following. So I can go to Tylen and give people his page. All right, there we go. There we go. Now we're working. Now we're thinking with portals. Okay. So I can kick that down. Go in here. Tylen. Go ahead. Follow him on Kick. I think you only, right now, you only stream on Kick, right?
Yes, I only exclusively stream on Kick. Once I upgrade my rig and able to handle better games and such, I am planning, once I get more comfortable in streaming and learn how to actually use OBS partially to multi-stream, I will be streaming to Kick and Twitch. I will still be uncensored as all fuck, and if Twitch gives me problems, I can just tell them to go like a fat one.
Well, yeah, if they drop you, you just go, okay, well, I'll just be on Kick anyways, so.
Well, not only that, I would also use their rules against them. How dare you oppress a gay man on your site, you bigots! You gotta play their stupid games if you want them to knock it off.
So you guys go ahead and go follow him on Kick. I will also be back up to multi-streaming at some point soon, hopefully. I want to thank everybody who dropped in. I know I'm probably gonna not hit everybody, but I will try and go back through chat and say goodnight to you all before we go here. We got Dill, we got Deke, we got Lucky Bach, we got again, shout out Lucky Bach. I know he's been doing some Christian stuff over on his page. Please go check him out too. Lucky Bach, I know Spider's here. Bat Derp. We got Ram, I know. I know you have multiple names. Elucidator's been here. I know he kind of lurks. Alex MQZ, Feral Mantis was here. I didn't say hi to him. Sorry about that, man.
Baron was here earlier, so let's get
Baron was here.
shout-out.
Baron was here. Yes. If I miss you, I apologize. Donnie was here. I know we got Tomahawks, we got Alex MQZ, we got Billy Donuts was here. And a couple of the other guys from this, we got three or more characters was here. We got the 420 guy, we got Dobermere was here. All you guys, if I missed you, I do apologize. I hope to see you guys again. Please call me out the next time we're on. And let me see. Oh, Yanuka was here. Hey, Yanuka. Good to see you.
Hi, hi.
I was actually going to cover one of your I think your first thing, your first prompt that you posted up, the game one, but we didn't get to it tonight. Maybe I'll get to it next time. It is in my prompts folder, so I will hopefully be covering it, but that was a cool one. I do want to give you a shout out on that. Anyways, thank you guys for showing up. I'll leave you with some good music. Have a happy 4th of July. I won't be streaming. I hope nobody's streaming tomorrow, at least at night, maybe in the morning, but at least at night, you guys should all go out, be with your families, do something cool, eat some barbecue, celebrate the birth of our nation. It's 250 years.
Go enjoy life.
Go touch grass, go eat the hot dogs, go eat the barbecue, whatever barbecue you guys get. Appreciate everybody for stopping in. It's been a great conversation. I think it's really productive. These are the kind of conversations I want to have on this page to help out the guys, give them advice, get more people get more guys to a better place in life. That's the whole goal. Love you guys. God loves you guys. No homo. Thailand is different.
All the homo with me.
We both thank you. I will be praying for you guys. Have a good night. Thailand, do you have any closing statements before we go off the air here?
Thanks for the love of yourselves and your nation, because you're only going to have this nation once during your life, so may as well make it count. And also remember, you're not only doing this for you, your family, and your loved ones, but also for future generations to make sure this wonderful nation stays alive. And so that way we never have to go through this kind of hell again with men facing these challenges. Because men are the safeguards, men are the leaders, and men will be the protectors of all future nations.
Indeed. I think the saying to summarize that is, we must plant the trees whose shade we will never sit under, for the future generations. And I will also end this on the verse of the day for today. I'm doing one verse a day and doing a little AI prompt with it, trying to every day anyways. In our 100-day,
I think that's a cute little idea.
In our 100-day lock-in here. And Tylen, I would like to actually bring that up with you and bring up with everybody here. If you guys are interested, again, hit me up on the Twitter. I will post that that thing again before we go tonight. Let me find it really quick here. It's up here. There it is. There it is. I need to share the link in the bio. Every metaphor. Go to this link. You can comment on the Twitter post. Let me know if you're interested. 100 days lock-in. It's for whatever you want, Tylen. So it's not even just fitness. That is my main priority, but I think Spider has one for making YouTube videos or streams. It's just whatever you want to lock in on. It's to focus for 100 days, be strict with yourself, make some goals and break them down into little bite-sized pieces to meet those goals by the end of the 100 days, or at least get as close as possible and say you gave it your best try and you made some progress. Maybe you won't. It's the whole optimism of, you may shoot for the stars and you can't be mad if you get to the moon kind of thing. So if you are interested,
Yeah.
Tylen, or anybody in chat, you can join that. Just let me know, comment on that Twitter thing and I'll get you the info or get you into the Discord and we'll get you all squared away, even though we're already on day 3. So back to the verse so I can finish up this for you guys. I know I've been saying goodnight all time. Just like a true streamer, I keep yapping.
I mean, you could make the 100 verse thing a yearly tradition.
It just may be. I may continue on with it. This isn't the. I have a lot of goals actually, and I don't think I'm gonna meet even half of them. But I'm gonna try my damnedest, and I'm gonna make progress, and then I'll just keep
in the right direction.
Exactly. Exactly, and that's the whole point. So today's verse is Philippians 2:14 through 15. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Funny, we just talked about that. That is actually very topical today. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky. This meaning that whatever situation you're put in, do your best to not complain about it and to not be grumbling about it, because basically to try and find the positive in everything. For us in the Christian belief, it's because God gives us everything for a reason, whether it be bad or good, whether it be a test or a blessing. It is all working towards his plan, towards his glory, and so we can take joy and glorification in that to him. And with that, Tylen, would you like to say have a good night and happy 4th?
Happy 4th of July, songbirds, and I hope you all have a wonderful night and wonderful holiday evenings. So I hope you all behave, do not cause problems, go out, be merry, enjoy life, enjoy our 250th celebration of our nation, and don't ever forget, there will always be people out there to test you and your patience and your loyalty to not only your fellow man, your fellow woman, but also to God himself and also to your nation. For you only have one home to call. You do not have a other home to go to, like how some people in India come here but can go back home to India. No, we only have one home and we must do everything in our humanly power to protect it. For no one else will.
True that. True that. For me, have a good night, guys. Have a great 4th. Again, go out if you can. Be with family. If you don't have family, do try to find something to do in community. It is good for you. Try to make new friends if you have to. And just God bless you. Be with you. Let him bring you into obedience and communion with him. Let him show you his love and his life and his light, everything that he does in spite of who we are. I hope he reaches out to you guys that haven't seen him yet, and to those that have seen him and know him, I hope he just draws you closer into that parent relationship with him, guys. So with that, have a great night. We're gonna leave off with some music. Give me just 2 seconds to get the end screen up and get the music going.